Happy Saturday for this. Well, that's going to drive me crazy. Hold on. Ah. Okay, that was weird. Oh, I'm talking to myself. Okay. There we go. The wind is playing havoc with the door chime, and I had myself on Instagram, so I didn't know where the hell that other stream was coming from. By the way, guys, along with watching us live on Twitter, YouTube, you can now watch us on Twitch and Instagram. All those links are in the description. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another Saturday Overnight Live, fresh off of our other leg of our fundraiser today. We raised a couple of bucks, but we are still out here trying to raise a little bit more, trying to get to 6,000 sooner than later. And then once we do that, we're going to raise that limit. I think I know it's an ambitious goal, but so is $5,000. I think we can get to 10,000 before April 19th. What do you guys think? All right, real quick, I'm going to answer some quick questions while Bradley lately gets here. But this is one I really want to answer real quick numbers. I saw this one first. This is one of our topics that I'm going to in fact, you know what? Why don't I just jump into that topic right now? Get that one off the board. William, how do you feel about the possibility of The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 40? Even though I hear people say it'll happen at Elimination Chamber, which I certainly hope not. One of two. Part two, because I don't care about Cody Rhodes finishing the story with Roman. He should have had it last year, and now the ship has sailed on the storyline. 100% agree. 100% agree. The ramp up to the Cody story was excellent, and then the payoff just wasn't worth it. And I'm sorry, people were like, "Didn't you just save it for WrestleMania?" No, you had your moment to do it then. And I think that I that's one of the things WWE does is sometimes they build up a great storyline and then they miss the moment to do it. WrestleMania, that year's WrestleMania, when he came in, when the storyline was hot, that was the time to do it. Any other pay-per-view, even another WrestleMania, is the story has gotten stagnant. It's not, So what they might do is they might have The Rock come out and cost him the title, but then that kind of makes the Royal Rumble match worthless because if they were slated to have Cody win, then how does he get the title? I mean, I guess there's a long way around then. What's the match? Let me look at the match they have because there's the match that they were going to set up for it. I know the 4-way match is Randy Orton is part of it. 4-way, and it's a 4-way too. See, this is just bad booking to me. All right, so it's a 4-way fatal main event for Universal set for Royal Rumble 2024 because Nick Aldis had to come out and do some stupid shit like that. Let's see. So LA Knight versus AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and then Reigns. So I don't know how they're going to pull this off. It's more important to me if I was running WWE, it would be more important to me to have the better WrestleMania than the Elimination Chamber. How you doing, Brad? Your money, they build up WrestleMania to the detriment of everything else anyway. So if you have The Rock, I don't know why you would have The Rock doing anything on Eliminated or Fastlane or anything like that, unless you're going to have Cody beat Roman Reigns after this, because this match is worthless. This Roman Reigns is winning this match. If they indeed want to still complete this Cody story, then if that's adamant what they're going to do, then Cody getting the title would clear out that story. Him not being at WrestleMania, that's too fucking bad. If you have a chance to put The Rock in a WrestleMania main event, you do it. You could redeem this storyline that has lasted too damn long in just one match. And it does not have to be a title match. If you want to have a title match between Cody and someone else on WrestleMania, that's fine. He main events WrestleMania and he leaves the champion. There you go. If you have a chance to put The Rock against the fucking janitor at the building, you do it. To me, this is a no-brainer. I hear that, let Cody finish the story. Hey, they blew that at WrestleMania. Sorry. The heat now, when The Rock came out there that night and I had him up on my screen, and when he's like, how about I sit at the head of the table? My grown ass was like, and this is a grown ass man who's really tired of the WWE product because it hasn't been good for like over 2 decades now, in my opinion. But during that 2 decades, one of the things that was good about it, that made it watchable consistently throughout that era, was The Rock. That's what kept me from tuning out completely. Is any feud The Rock was in was worth it. Even if the wrestling match wasn't that good, just him coming out and talking was like it was Ric Flair moment. He's the closest thing to Ric Flair as far as his sermon. The Rock is, and he generates so much. You have to have him. I don't even see. You walk into the WWE offices, and you look around. No one should be able to have to even say anything. They should all be like, "Yep, that's our main event." You figure out the rest later. So yeah, I would if The Rock wants to cost him the title or something like that, that's fine. That puts Cody on a different path to finish his little story, and that's fine. I think his contract always is almost up too. That's fine. But if you have you have The Rock and Roman Reigns, the culmination of what they should have done already. The Rock should have been inserted into this storyline like over a year and a half ago. But they couldn't get the schedules right. So now you have the guy who's been claiming to be the head of the table defends his title like 3 times in 2,000 days or whatever, and you have The Rock. That match sells itself. Doesn't even have to be a title match. WrestleMania has done it before where their main event was not a world title match. Any match on that title, nobody's cared. WrestleMania could suck both days. If you got The Rock versus Reigns, and now you don't have his title reign on there, you could have him pin Reigns. People are going to love that. Then The Rock can disappear for another year. But people love The Rock. People love The Rock. I mean, Samantha Irwin, the announcer, she didn't know The Rock was coming out. She's sitting there now. She's sitting there, and they showed her on Twitter. She jumps out of her seat, and everybody else. That's you, and he still looks like he does now. If The Rock is not in the main event of WrestleMania, that is malfeasance. That is like, are you kidding? It's so yeah. I put that in the thumbnail because that has to happen. I don't care about Fastlane. I don't care about Elimination Chambers. No, you do whatever you want there. Put the belt on Cody right there and then. But the battle for the head of the table doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the title. It's about their bloodline that they're both a part of. This is Samoan pride. It's the lay. It's an actual table that he's been walking around. Like I said, Roman Reigns has the audacity to walk around like that with The Rock still on planet Earth. I don't care if it's in WrestleMania or in wrestling business or not. He should be on the head of the table except for a delay. So yeah, you have to do that match, man. You have to do that. I'm sorry. Everybody's like, well, Cody, no. I'm sorry, Cody. They typical WWE booking fucked you out of your moment. Join the club, but The Rock's there. Cody Rhodes, I have all the respect. Your bloodline is Dusty Rhodes is a legend, and he's done an excellent job as a wrestler and a promoter. But he's not The Rock. Sorry, The Rock is The Rock. That's I mean, and like I said, as long as he's immortal like this and looking like that, The Rock is 52 years old.
Yeah,
I look like shit, and I'm not that old. Look at The Rock. For all you people like, well, they're going to be too old to do this or that. No. Rich people with money don't age.
And by the way,
Sophia Loren, she's 83 years old. Think she'd have any problem getting it?
And by the way, for anybody who has been following in his career, like one of the next things he has coming up, as far as making movies, he's going to be portraying an MMA fighter, in some of her A24, which of course that requires, it's the kind of thing you have to be in outstanding shape for, and so.
Yeah, how you doing, Daniel? Yeah, The Rock has to be in that main event. I can't even believe that's that's even a question. If he's not, I'm laughing at WWE. Why? What are you doing? What are you doing? There's usually 1 or 2 matches in WrestleMania because lately, since like 99, 2000, WrestleMania has pretty much just been an average pay-per-view.
Yeah, but of course, as we all know, it's all my fault.
No, Lee Clint's not dead yet. I mean, that's up to that, I guess. Yeah, no, that has to be. Did I put it at? Oh, you know what? In the lettering I used, that does look like an 8. Sorry, I did realize I'm not going to use that lettering anymore. Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, that does look like an 8.
Yeah, but it is a 9. By the way, we're still doing a charity. The link is in the chat, and it's also in the description. Want to hit 6,000 sooner than later, and then we can. I like I said, I was telling them, I think we can. I have a realistic. I think we have a realistic opportunity to reach 10 grand by April.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of that's because how much people just surprise us on New Year's Eve with how much donations they threw, which we can't stress how grateful we are for how much you guys came out for that on New Year's Eve with the Zack Snyder's Justice League watch party, and threw about $2 grand at it. So we're just so blown away by that. And I think I don't know if you brought this one with Margie up yet.
Is that one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's one right there. That don't fuck that up. That's in the CM Punk. I gotta see that because there's real heat there. In the main event for night 1, and Cody versus RJ, no, you can't do that. You're gonna get Nick Khan fired. You're going to have the dudes from UFC or whatever they call it, TKO or whatever the hell that is. You're going to have to change the locks. If The Rock says, I'm available for WrestleMania, and The Rock is not main eventing WrestleMania, you're going to have, like, SportsCenter's going to be like, top 10 plays. That ain't one of them. That's not, no. I knew you were going to come in with this too. Cody versus Roman 2 in the main event for night 2. Anything else would be creative? Why? No. Why would that? They've already screwed it up, creative storytelling. They're not good at that anymore. They're really good at it and when they get a creative storyline, it either lasts too long or they fuck it up with the ending, which is what they did with the Cody thing. All right, what they did with the Undertaker. The Undertaker streak, they spent 21 years. 21 years building up the Undertaker's streak as it was this, Yeti in the mountains that you had to go find, like the White Buffalo. And then what? They have him lose to Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar literally joins Jimmy Hoffa in missing for 3 months. And then he now the streak's nothing. No, don't. There's no good storytelling left in the story. The storytelling right now is they've told the story of the bloodline that has gone on way too long. But guess what? You know what'll make it all worth it? If the guy who's always at the head of their table comes out and beats the hell out of the guy who's been walking around talking about being the head of the table. Like I said, no. Why would that be a disappointment? How can The Rock at WrestleMania versus Roman Reigns to settle this issue once and for all be a disappointment? The disappointment now that The Rock came out and said that, the disappointment is if his ass ain't, man, that's me, dude. Like I said, oh no. You can still have Cody get the strap. That's fine. Have Cody get the strap. But I just thought of something that might just make the throw up just rise to my esophagus. Do not fucking do a 3-way with Cody. Oh, damn it. You know what? I just spoke that shit into existence. Do not do a 3-way with Cody and The Rock and Roman Reigns. Absolutely do not. Cody doesn't need to be in that match. Give Cody a main event. He gets to give me a triple main event. Your 2 titles, because CM Punk and Seth Rollins, that's enough right there. But you got Cody in his moment, in his story, right? That's another title match. But you have to have The Rock and Roman Reigns at the top of that card. Though that one match is bigger than the other 2, even the CM Punk match. CM Punk can draw, but CM Punk is not The Rock. The Rock, it's only one Dwayne Johnson. And if you get a chance, like while he's looking like that, feeling like that, to get him in our main event WrestleMania, you have to do it. You have that's an easy yes. That's a soft line. That like is the sky? Yes. The sky's blue. Yes. Is water wet? Yes. All right. I mean, will sticking the hanger in the socket electrocute? Yes. These are things you say yes to because you know that's what needs to happen. No. Storytelling disappointment at this point would be the Rock not being in the Rain of Man. Oh, man, you got to do that, dude. You got to do. You have to. You have to. That. I mean, I don't even know why it's they should already be like talking about it now and building it up. Because, like I said, two things you can screw this up. Cody's in the three-way for the title, which is stupid. Or it's Cody and Roman at this point. I wasn't looking too big on that anyway because I was so pissed off at the way they did that. And they got to stop adding years to these storylines. Roman Reigns has been champion. He doesn't defend the belt. He's made the belt meaningless. This bloodline thing has been going on, like I said, literally no shit. A presidential administration. I actually think Trump was president when it started. And I'm not exaggerating. We're now rolling into an election year. So it's gone on too long. I'm sorry, Cody. You got your paycheck. You're going to get your title. You get to be WWE champion or Universal champion. Something Dusty, the story was he wanted to do something that Dusty never had a chance to do, which was to be a WWE champion or Universal, whatever title, whatever top billing. Dusty Rhodes never got that. They kind of made a joke out of Dusty. He was dancing around in a polka dot outfit. But he never had a chance to wrestle. I mean, he wrestled everywhere else, but by the time he got to WWE, he was already old. He already had his, injuries. He's already done. But he's the NWA champion. He beat Ric Flair. I mean, he had done everything else. But and the story was that Cody was going to finish that circle. And if he gets the title, then that's it. It's done. He main events at Wrestle. He's already main evented at WrestleMania. So you already got that. Now the title story's over. But under no circumstances do you sacrifice that main event. That's money. Do you think that since they're doing Fatal 4A at the Rumble, they could have Roman lose the championship without being pinned? Yeah. In fact, that's the way I think they're going to do it. And I think that Cody goes ahead and wins the Royal Rumble. And guess what? Here's what I think is going to happen because I've been watching this stuff too long. I have a wrestling problem, guys, and there's no help. But here's what I think is going to happen. I think Randy Orton's going to win, and you're going to have a legacy matchup because if you follow the history of Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, there's a history there. So I think Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. That's a great main event. Cody wins. Or actually, no, yeah, Cody pins Randy. Randy doesn't need it. He's 13 times. Randy's good. He's about putting people over now. And you get his title moment. You get him up there. Get out of the ring. Let CM Punk, Seth Rollins do their thing. Oh, actually, that's the next night or night 1, night 2. Get out of that ring. And that last match on WrestleMania Sunday. By the way, this 2-day WrestleMania shit is stupid. You guys don't have enough good matches to give me 2 days. You're not Wrestle Kingdom. Sorry. And Wrestle Kingdom doesn't even do it anymore. That last match of WrestleMania has got to be The Rock and Roman Reigns. It has to be. It has to be. I mean, I can't be sitting here telling you this, and you guys are making millions to make these decisions. Listen, I'm not even going to knock WWE. They know what they need to do. There's no way in hell, if The Rock is available for WrestleMania, that The Rock and Roman Reigns aren't the end game of that. That has to be, man. And I want to see this. Is as mediocre as the WWE product is, The Rock brings me back. That's why they have him around, because guys like him and Stone Cold can't move from here to this door. He's got bad knees, bad back, bad neck. Doesn't matter. When you hear those beer bottles breaking, and he comes out doing his little stomp and his beers and ripping people off, people go crazy. Stone Cold, even at his height, when he became Stone Cold, was done as a wrestler. You see him wearing two knee braces, and he doesn't do anything. He stomps people and beats them. People love it. It's great. People take it easy on him because they don't, he's up there. But, he does his stunner. All he has to, and people love it, and he go crazy, and then he goes back to it. That's what The Rock is. You hear that, you smell. That crowd went fucking ape shit the other night. that crowd lost their mind. And it was laughter because they brought out Jinder Mahal, and I'm like, okay, there's no way the former champion that they brought. I was laughing at
By the way,
that.
by the way, I'm going to address some, because apparently a couple of people are saying I'm breathing heavy or something.
You always breathe heavy.
Sounding like Michael Myers, and I'm like Darth Vader with no helmet. Or I'm like Darth. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary, guys. I mean, it's my.
At least you're not coughing and sniffling anymore. I mean, I figure this is improvement.
I mean, I got the mic on my headset like pretty close to my face, but I mean, that's about all I can tell you. Maybe it's because I just left because I usually mute my mic whenever William is kind of on a monologue, so I just forgot to do that. So
that was a burn. Oh wow, I'm getting it all direct. I'm Rhea dogged me the other day because oh wow, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and also my dog, because I took it out back tonight, like I've been doing, and my dog is running around out here, so maybe it's picking up a little bit more noise. But yeah, I'll just switch my mic off every time Wayne's just going.
It's got to be Roman Reigns, guys. Not Vince. I can't even say Vince anymore. Tony Khan, Triple H.
Well, yeah, I'm not having any respiratory problems. Anybody who's wondering.
I know after weeks of us nearly dying on the air, those are the sounds you guys should be worried about. Hey, Kingdom of Nerds, what's going on? But yeah, it's gotta be that. I disagree with numbers. Rock versus Roman Reigns and elimination. So no, it won't. No, RJ, come on. You're the guy who would go into and just have the bag of money, and you would get in the back of a trunk and just throw it out. Just here, you want some money? You're throwing money away. Why would The Rock is WrestleMania? There are certain ones. Certain people, when you bring them back, it's WrestleMania. If they're actively performing, it's WrestleMania. The Rock is not your other pay-per-view guy. The Rock is like those godlike figures that you bring back. There's only one place you put him. You don't bring The Rock back. Now he will be involved in those things. Like I truly believe he's going to cost Roman the title because there's going to be some. I cannot wait until they start promoting this match, and you got The Rock, because Roman Reigns, I think he's a tremendous talent, great wrestler, and cancer survivor and everything else. He's a generally good guy. His promos are fucking horrible, dude. And thank God for Paul Heyman, because when Paul Heyman starts to talk, and that's who needs to run him out. But I would like to go see, and just the first words out of Paul Heyman's mouth, and then The Rock's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can't put him in elimination chamber as far as he can be there. Hell, he can even be guest referee in some capacity that puts The Rock there. But no, it's got to be WrestleMania. It's got to be WrestleMania.
When it comes to wrestling, I know how my girl feels when I talk about the Snyder Cut. I'm not sure I get that, man.
It's not a top. Wrestling is not a topic that everyone is into. But
okay, yeah. Okay, I get it. By the way, what you said there with the Rock's catchphrase a minute ago. I mean, I remember when he was Black Adam, it was just coming out. The premiere was happening. It was a few days away, and he was out there. He was dishing big time on WB, saying how much they were blocking on Superman and all this other stuff he wanted to do. And every interview he was saying, "Oh yeah, that administration's out of here." And I remember taking the gif of him right when this is him right at the peak of his career. He grab the mic and say, "It doesn't matter what you think." And I said that's what he told them when he said he wasn't gonna have Superman and Black Adam.
Yeah, and like I said, we can go on that, but he's got to be in the main event. I'm sorry, you guys, there's no talking me out of that, and there should be no talking WWE execs after that. I mean, that's a gift. You could fuck up both of those days and fuck up that entire card, and no one's going to remember that. They're going to remember The Rock versus Roman Reigns. So that's
the reason perhaps Reed's so heavily saying you're ready for his audition. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, guys. I mean, again, it's I'm breathing perfectly fine. It's nothing out of the ordinary. So again, I can only attribute it to I just took it, the computer out back on the table here. So maybe and maybe the mic just picking up more noise and more wind, and it's just come across a little bit more vividly.
I don't hear it as much, but then again, I may be used to it. Cody better get Cody the belt. Elimination Chamber, get Cody the belt. But like I said, if you put The Rock versus if I see Fastlane coming around and that's The Rock, and Roman's still a champion, and then that's just stupid. I'm sorry, you just can't. That's just like I said, that's just giving away money. Just like opening up your bank account and leaving your ATM in the card with taping your PIN number on there. Just give the money away. You can't do that. You can't do that. This gets me looking forward to this WrestleMania because not only I don't even care if the match sucks. The hype, The Rock coming out and talking every week from now until April is beautiful. You know, I can tell you how it's going to happen. It's like, you may be the head of your little table at your house, but The Rock sits at the big table with all the executives and all the stars, and you got your sip. Because I want the promo more than I want anything, because Roman's not a good promo guy. I mean, he'll say what he has to say, but The Rock's going to tear that up. So it's got to be Paul Heyman in there trying to at least, give something. But it's The Rock. You got to put him in. You do not put him in the Elimination Chamber. Do not put him in Fast Lane for this. No. It needs to be. It needs to be. Needs to be WrestleMania, man. Like I said, there's just certain people. When they come into your restaurant or they come into your club and they're high rollers, you don't sit them with the peasants. You sit them in that nice glass covered area with the guard standing there and the velvet robe. That's where they go. All right. And that's what WrestleMania is to The Rock. Yeah. If he's, like I said, he's not like some of the older dudes who haven't taken care of themselves, and can't carry a match. I have no doubt that The Rock can carry a match just fine right now. So, dude, it cannot happen, and if it does, I've always tried to figure out what WWE is doing, because a lot of the stuff that they do doesn't make sense. They usually get these things right, though. Now, granted, they fucked it up last year because Cody should have won the title last year, but Cody's not The Rock. Roman Reigns is not The Rock. Those two combined with like 10 or 8 other people are not nobody they have right now would be the draw at the top of that card that The Rock is. So that alone makes the decision easier. It's got to be The Rock versus Roman. It's got to be. It's the best way you could pay off this bloodline story, and it's a legit payoff because who's the head of the blood? I mean, you're talking about the Samoan bloodline that all like half of WWE is part of, and that has people in pretty much in wrestling promotions all over the world are connected to the Anahi family. You have, you got The Rock, you have Roman Reigns, you have Suka, and you have the twin brothers. Their brothers. They're all three Rikishi's kids. You have, you had Yamaga before he passed away. You had Yokozuna before he passed away. These just so many people in that bloodline. And either that are part of the bloodline by marriage. Trinity, she's Jey Uso's. I mean, just the family's big, so you have the history there. So you bringing that history with The Rock, the most famous member of that bloodline. A lot of people blame. I don't think it was fair, but said Roman Reigns only got his position because he was part of that bloodline. Roman Reigns is a hell of a performer. Don't get me wrong, but he's not The Rock. He's not. It's just you can't. RJ, stop it. All right, so we got that one. We got that one out of the way.
And fourth also adds from where Brad happens the best place to help shoot a short film for a friend. And the first take was ruined because the camera's picking up my breathing. Yeah, you'd be surprised, like how. Yeah,
I should start playing the Imperial March every time you come in. RJ, you're costing WWE money. If you have The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, it could potentially undermine multiple storylines. It can hurt CM Punk once again, and The Rock is coming in to take his spot. So what? It's The Rock spot. It's The Rock spot. That's undisputed. This is not CM Punk's spot. CM Punk should be lucky he has a fucking job. that's CM Punk is if CM Punk is doing something that he never was able to do before, which is main eventing that's his spot. His spot is the main event of WrestleMania. That was a big crux that pissed him off before because he never got a chance. He kept getting passed over. But him and Seth at WrestleMania, that's his spot. So wherever The Rock comes in, that's The Rock's spot. So and there's nothing that they could undermine that anybody would care about if you know that The Rock is at the top of that card. Nobody's going to be like, you gave me The Rock versus Reigns, but this other C and B storyline didn't come to fuck. What? I might not even watch those. I might watch this pay-per-view and have it on here, and those characters that you people are undermining, okay, cool, congratulations, you got your WrestleMania moment, take a selfie with your family, get off the ring, get The Rock and Reigns in there now. There's nothing that they could undermine. There's no risk here. CM Punk is going to do whatever they tell him to because he wants to prove that he's not a fuck-up everywhere he goes. And not only that, he's going to be literally jettisoned into a main event. He's been back with the company for a month, and he's already he's headed to CM Punk's gonna be fine. You know, there's nothing you could undermine. And if you got to undermine something to fit The Rock in, you do it. Like I said, you make space for those type of legends, especially if they can still wrestle. I mean, like I said, it'd be different if we were talking about putting Ric Flair out there or Shawn Michaels like now or somebody like that. Or Triple A. I mean, the people who cannot wrestle anymore, and just for ceremony. No, The Rock can still move. The Rock is not aging anymore. That's it. The Rock is done aging. The Rock is immortal. That's it. He may gain some veins, but that's it. No, it's got to be The Rock. It's got to be The Rock and Reigns. It's got to be.
By the way, he had a good zinger too. When his return, like who was he was in character, but he poked a little fun at some of his filmography where he said something like, it's like it's like you're so late. Like if you were one of The Rock's movies, you'd be Baywatch.
You know, that movie helped some careers though. But all right, I'm gonna hand over the
chat.
I'm gonna hand over the chat to you, and then we'll get into some of our.
Okay,
we've already cleared one off the board before you even got here. There, look at that.
All right. See, here's another from RJ. The obsession with The Rock over the talent who shows every day and works for WrestleMania is the Vince McMahon mindset we need to get away from. That's some old. Okay, so I guess we're not quite out of the topic yet.
No, I'm not Vince McMahon. I'm a fan. I want to see this. Every fan is going to want to see this.
The Rock is
money. Talent, by the way. You know,
he should get a match with Roman, but use him in a logical way that helps everyone, not just the shareholders.
Okay, everybody on the show gets a cut of the pay-per-view money. Off of or cut off of the gate and all that. All the top tier guys. So if The Rock's at the top of the card, that's going to be a highly rated pay-per-view. They get a percentage of what Peacock and all them get to them, and each of them break it down. Everybody's making more money with The Rock at the top of the card. They get a cut of revenue. They get a cut of the t-shirts, all that kind of everything goes up. So it has to be The Rock. Lose him in a logical way. Yeah, and the main event of WrestleMania. That's the logical way. That's the no-brainer. I can't even. No. RJ, stop. No more RJs. No. I can't hear you, RJ.
Fourth says Baywatch had Alexander.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I remember seeing it's like, yeah, because I never really watched the show that religiously. So, I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean,
she was in True Detective season 1 too.
And I think where I can't put that. Yeah, I thought it was fine. It didn't blow me away, but it wasn't like.
I didn't see it. So
yeah, it didn't. I wasn't like getting on board the hate train with it. So it is what it is. I mean, sometimes.
All right, RJ.
And again, I mean, I'm at this point, I'm very used to being on the opposite end, of Rotten Tomatoes reception. I mean, obviously, Black Adam is
a good place to be.
Yeah, Black Adam was one that I definitely was on that. And what was another one recent? Oh, definitely Rebel Moon. So, let's see. Music Man says I agree with William.
Yeah, you just have to do it. Yeah, you just have to. Some things are just like gimmies. You have a lot of things are hard to figure out sometimes, and it's not easy to get things. This is easy. This is like waking up and everything is ready for you. Your clothes are ready for you. Breakfast is made. You got a limo driver to take you to work. Your lunch, everything is ready. This is a gimme. This is something you just do. I just gotta do it, man. Gotta do it. All right. So fun weather wise, we are still at 5,250. Can't believe I'm saying we were just that. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Did The Rock ever compete in the Olympics? Not to my knowledge, but I mean, I think he definitely. I mean, look at him. I think he could have, and he could have competed in something.
He went to Miami. He went and won a national championship with Miami, and then he went.
Oh yeah, because he was gonna before wrestling. He was trying to go into football.
Yeah, pro football, and then he couldn't make pro football. I can't believe there was something The Rock couldn't do. And then he started he started with wrestling after that. So yeah, he was never an Olympian as far as I know.
Let's see. So many comments about The Rock in WrestleMania that.
I'm glad to hear it. I mean,
Daniel says number. I would watch that. Well, and I think he's replying to numbers. Let me go up to.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna watch that match.
Hey, Music Man, what's likelihood of Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill at WrestleMania?
Right now, with nobody really gunning for her in specifically, I could see that. Rhea's gonna have to carry the match though. I don't think Jade is not ready for that. She had a lot of squash matches and she got better towards the end of her run in AEW, but Rhea is a much better wrestler, so she's gonna have to do the selling in that match. But I could see that's a formidable opponent. She's nearly 6 feet tall. She's all muscle, and it's gonna be a power on power match. I could see it. I don't know if she'll win, but that would be a good matchup.
Okay, and Anthony, this actually might be going. He asked if we can answer the questions he sent each of us. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the ones he sent me. Anthony on Twitter.
Did you send us both the same questions? If so, I'm gonna let Brad handle that.
I think he might have sent you like one set to you and one set to me. So,
well, Anthony, Brad, go ahead and take care of that, and Anthony, let me know if there are different ones that you sent me, because you sent a lot, and like I said, it's just a lot.
Yeah, and we're not like actively ignoring or anything, man. It's just
I am. Goddamn, no, I'm just kidding. You know what? You wait, hey Anthony, you wait till I get monetized. I'm gonna be like Campia. You gotta pay for me to answer a question.
Okay.
Dude, he shuts the super chats off. That's how many super chats he's getting. I'd be like, you know what? Find me 4 or 5 people answer these damn questions. They're giving us money. He's like, okay, guys, I gotta shut the super chats off. I'm like, wait a minute, you're telling me the people want to give you money and you're gonna stop taking the money?
Okay, I think I got to your first one here that you sent me, Anthony. He said, and I guess this can be for both of us. He asked, let's say James Gunn decides to bring back both Ben and Henry. If it's not Superman and Batman, what hero or villain would you want them to play? I want them to play Superman and Batman again. I want to see the rest of the story. but other, it's interesting you asked that too, because I remember telling some friends at the time, when BBS was out, or like when we were watching the movie when the Ultimate Edition came out, and he gives the whole speech about 20 years in Gotham, how many good guys have stayed that way. And I said to them, I told a couple of my friends, if Ben Affleck weren't playing Batman, I could have seen him as Harvey Dent. So that could be something there. Henry. It'd be kind of interesting. Maybe see him as Jor-El. Maybe see him also as Superman's father. I always thought that'd be. I doubt they'd ever do this, but I always thought it'd be kind of a cool tradition if they had like the preceding Superman kind of played the Jor-El of the incoming one.
I don't know. It's hard for me to answer these questions because it all depends on there's so much. The actor is a part of the story. The actor should never really dictate the part. The part should dictate the needs of the part. Would dictate the actors. I don't know who he could play. To be honest with you, because I don't know who. And I hate to cop out with this question, but I just don't. I don't do fan casting simply because it's. I'm basing it off of what I've seen of him, and what you see of an actor is not necessarily their full range. Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger. I had no idea that he could pull that performance out of his ass for the Joker based on what he's done. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that question because they're literally paid to be something other than what they were the last time you saw them. So I really have a hard time. What's his next one? He had like a bunch.
Yeah, let me get this other one he had for me. And by the way, Anthony, the problem with that too is that it's the same problem I foresee happening. And if you do bring back any of Zach's cast in JL cast in different roles or even the same roles in Guns DCU, it's like to me, it's like that you're just kind of like dangling, the fact that the lack of the ending to the preceding universe, that all that's going to do is just like make me say, and probably I would say a lot of people say, it's like, okay, well, why aren't we getting that?
Well, because depending on what the role you bring, if you bring them back in a role that's suitable for what he had, what his vision is. The thing I don't want to see these guys come back to it's Kingdom Come time or in some other capacity, because if you use them in another role like that, it would be really hard, because if you use them in the universe and now you do eventually get the Kingdom Come, it just doesn't jive with me as well. But weirder things have happened, but that would be just a little bit too much.
Yeah, well, and like I think I mentioned before, also when you read the the whiteboards, the outline for JL 2 and 3, when it gets to the 20-year later, kind of epilogue, I remember thinking, like, when I first read that, that does actually have, like, probably I would imagine, like, Zach had always envisioned with that, that would have, like, a it wouldn't be a full that epilogue would not be a full adaptation of Kingdom Come, but he would probably use a lot of visual cues from it. Like Superman would probably have the gray temples and the suit, and a lot of other things like that. So I would imagine, like, that part was always going to have, like, a flavor of Kingdom Come to it. So the passage of time could lead to, okay, let's modify this and, like, make this into more of a full blown kind of Kingdom Come spin on the initial plan for it.
Yeah, and if you've already used those characters, another thing and prominently, I don't know. I stay away from that one. What's his next one? Because he sent me 80 questions.
Yeah, he sent me a lot too. Is there a way that James Gunn could tell fans that the Pattinson Batman is the younger version of the Batman? No, I don't see that happening at all.
And there's no need for him to.
I agree.
There's no need for him to do that. All he has to do is the only thing. What this hat's been driving me crazy. The only thing he really has to do is explain that this is not the universe that I'm working on right now. This is this is all under DC, but this is what Matt Reeves doing. The Batman I'm giving you is from a different universe. That's it. And I think they should have already been doing that, but I'm not going to go in that tirade.
Yeah. And the next one is, well, I think this is also kind of the other half of the question. This is like one question in two parts, because he said recently the Arkham series that Matt Reeves is developing is going to be part of the DCU, and those characters that we see in his universe, or younger versions of the characters that we see in the future DCU. Yeah, but again, that
doesn't mean that. So see that Arkham thing is going to be DCU, but doesn't necessarily mean it's part of Ray Reeves stuff. That just means that that's a project that he's producing for DCU. I don't know for certain that that's connected to the Batman, because the Batman is not a part of the DCU.
Yeah. Okay. And I think this is the last one for me. Can you guys explain to me this controversy about James Gunn and what he's expecting in terms of casting personality for Supergirl in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow? I'm not sure what you're talking about the controversy. Are you talking about it not being Sasha Calle, or
clarify that there, Anthony?
Yeah, if you can clarify that in the comments first, man, I'll go ahead and pull that up. And I think that was his last one for me. Let me go ahead and check it out real quick. That was his last one for me.
When we get big, that's going to cost you about $1,000. All right, so let's jump in. Where are we at on the fundraiser? We're still stuck. Come on, guys. Good cause. We're going to jump in so I can get rid of all this WWE stuff, because we kind of like let off with that. I'm going to start off with the music topic for the day. And the music for the day is, as you can see from the thumbnail, is one of the most important albums of any era. This album, Licensed to Ill by Beastie Boys, was their second release. It was by Def Jam. Rick Rubin was working his magic like only he can. And I'm going to be blunt. The Beastie Boys in this album made it okay for white people to venture into rap, even more so than Walk This Way did. And it made it easier for black folks to openly experiment with rock. I was in that age where I was really starting to lean into heavy metal at this point in time, and here's BC Boys are doing, and a lot of the people around me, especially in the Southern California area, and then people in the New York area, the metropolitan areas. I always will say that a lot of us came in that generation came from people. So if you're white, you were listening to the AM Gold, you were listening to rock and classic rock and everything like that, and that's how the radios marketed to you. They chose that. If you're black, you were more than likely, not exclusively, listening. Your parents, like my parents, were the Motown generation, and so in a lot of times, generation, you just hand that type because it's the household you grow up in. The 80s, we had a lot of crazy stuff going on. We had Aerosmith and Run DMC getting together. Black folks saying, Aero who? And white people like Run DMC, well, those guys? But it gave us cover to like, well, everybody else is listening to it. Let me give it a try. And it allows you to break out of those casts. BC Boys took it to an entirely new level because they were a perfect balance of R&B, rap, and rock. I mean, they all played their instruments. They were the guitars that you hear on their stuff, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, all that. That's them playing that. They're playing the drums. When you see them in concert, they're playing. I saw them at Lollapalooza '94. They were playing their instruments. So they were musicians, and they dabbled into this, and they created a middle ground that was all their own with this album. I mean, if you go up and down License to Ill, Hold It Down, Hit It, that was a controversial one because it was smoking weed. Paul Revere is probably one of their most famous songs, period. The New Style, and this one, track number 4 on this album. Track number 4 was the one that punched the wall down. You got to fight for your right to party. And not only were they crossing over, this was 86. This was when MTV was just pumping things out. So MTV was another reason because MTV put everything in front of everybody. They didn't say we're just going to play this right now. We're going to play everything, especially after the Michael Jackson controversy, and David Bowie called MTV out as far as you guys don't play enough black music. And I remember Brian, it was the VJ is like, well, the corporation thinks that there's not a market out there for it, and then David Bowie just looks at him and laughs. This is during an interview, and that moment was like, okay. And then Epic Records said, if you guys don't start playing more black music, we're not going to let you play Michael Jackson. And at that time, in the mid '80s, early '80s, Michael Jackson was gold. I mean, anything Michael Jackson on, you had people walking around with gloves, everything. So then they started breaking through. But then the music itself started to come through and break through. Like Walk This Way was huge. That was also in '86.
And by the way, if you've never seen that Bowie interview, look that up. It's
stunning because it's like awkward silence. But
well, it's because he doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't bullshit around with it. He just goes right for it. It's like, yeah, why don't you have more black artists on?
And it was an awkward silence, but he had the credibility. He had the credibility to say that. And the thing about it, if you look at a lot of his influences, Little Richard was a heavy influence on him. And Little Richard, he saw what Little Richard went through. A lot of Little Richard's hits were from other people because during segregation and everything else, there were just certain places we couldn't perform and get songs through. That's what happened. That's what happened at the British invasion. A lot of their songs that they made hits, they were able to perform in club, like Herman and Hermits, all that. So David Bowie came from that era, and he figured he had a lot of his success from guys like that. And he's like, why aren't you playing these guys? And I remember that I was watching. I'm like, and it got quiet, and it was Mark Young. I think it was Mark Young was the VJ, and he wasn't the CEO or anything, but he was the VJ on the air, and he was hitting them. He was like, so you were going through this awkward time in the '80s where and then finally MTV they did it, and Walk This Way helped. Things like Beastie Boys helped them realize that not only was there a market for that stuff, there was a crossover market for that. And I think this album, License to Ill, Fight for Your Right, was everywhere. Rock stations were playing that. Rap, R&B, not rap stations, but a lot of the R&B stations that my dad was. I was in the car with my dad, and that comes on the radio on the station that the old man was not listening to anything but certain things at that time. That's just the way he grew up, and that's fine. But when that came on, he's like, "Who's this?" It was because it was getting requested on the black stations. And then a lot of times people were requesting it and they hadn't had a lot of videos that they would hear, things like Brass Monkey or something like that and be like, those are black folks. No, and then you saw the video. No, it's some white guys from Brooklyn. And I always say this, in that era, if you weren't experimenting like I was, you were on your side of the fence when it came to these musics. And that's what MTV saw. MTV's like, well, they're not going to listen to that. So why were you even going to play it? And news guys are not going to listen to that. And that's, yo MTV, anything. They fought everything because they were so afraid that there was no market for it. And then when these things happen, they're like, oh shit, not only is there a market, it can create an entirely new demographic. There's no more just black music, white music. Yo MTV Raps was another thing that, they didn't directly do, but it showed MTV, License to Ill showed MTV that there was a market for rap, number one, which they did not believe. And then there was a market for rap amongst white people. I mean, if you look at Straight Outta Compton and some of these albums that came out later on, there's a good percentage of non-black folks buying those albums. And so all the metrics that that MTV were working on to that point were blown out of the water with this album. So this album, like I said, turning point is one thing. This wasn't just a turning point. This was creating a new road. Girls was a huge hit off of that. No Sleep Till Brooklyn. No Sleep Till Brooklyn works today. I mean, Brass Monkey, all these songs are a hit, but like I said, and it crossed over. It showed everybody. It showed radio stations. It showed pop stations that you guys got to do a better job of figuring out who's listening to your stuff now. Because with MTV and these white guys coming out rapping, you don't know where your money's coming from now. And you need to find out. And that's, like I said, this album was really, really important especially for us kids in the 80s. But a lot of these guys later on, Kid Rock, all these guys, a lot of these guys that delved over the rock rap craze that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, which I kind of just bailed out on, but it was a big hit. A lot of these bands were watching and listening to what was going on in the mid 80s, and given the sales of License to Ill, it wasn't just us buying it. It was a lot of people buying that album. This was one of those albums that really brought the demographic together to the point where it changed the outlets. The radio stations had to adjust to this. MTV had to adjust to this, and record companies had to. And Rick Rubin, we're going to do a special just on Rick Rubin alone. This guy had his hands in everything. He had his hands in metal. He had his hands in rap. I think he might have had some country out there. Rick Rubin, it was one of those dudes that was thinking 2024 back in 1986. And everything that dude touched was gold. So that is why License to Ill is maybe more than anything else I've covered here, one of the most important albums in music. Probably one of the most underrated ones too. And rest in peace, Ad Rock, because thank God, I am so happy that I went to Lollapalooza '94 and got to see them live, because he passed away. He passed away about 10, 15 years later, but he died young of cancer, stomach cancer. And so they don't, they perform, but it's not the same. But I got a chance to see the Beastie Boys live on stage, one of the most raucous crowds you'll ever see. So there you go. That is our turning point of the day. You still there, Brad? I had to mute you because you were clicking there for a second there. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Brad. Okay, I somebody was clicking, and so
no worries. And actually, before I was going to bring this up, but I didn't want to, disrupt the flow of the topic. But Rhea had a little bit of something she wanted to add to the Rock discussion, which was she missed the for president campaign video show.
Man, I'm being abused by Rhea this week. I posted on this thing because I couldn't. I paid for this stupid Twitter thing, and I'm still not verified.
Are you
active? So it's been like 2 weeks.
Ray, are you just going to write in the Rock this year?
Yeah.
Because it's
Like, you don't even answer my messages. I'm like, yeah, you were here. Come on.
and Anthony, he's clarifying that question. Clarify what I meant, Brad, is that people already causing controversy. It's more jaded and aggressive version of Kara for.
Yeah, because if you read you read this, he needs to make sure he gets his girl, the right one for this. That car that we saw in the Flash, that's going to be perfect for a certain type of story. This is a very complex story, and it's not. I think he really needs to be careful to get the right person for that. So I'm on board with him. Listen, I want to see her again. Like I say, I've already laid out the roadmap to get her and to do her. But right now, I don't want. If that's not the Supergirl for his story, then I don't want to force one down his throat. You know what I mean? So, okay.
Vince says Beastie Boys hated Fight for Your Right. They made it a joke and blew it up.
Yeah, you know why they hated that one? Because it was the one that everybody connected to, and it wasn't. It was the one that was the most commercial out of all the stuff on that album. That hip hop feel and had that punch to it. This was the one that they hated it because the radio stations got the album, and because of Rick Rubin, you just fucking had to. They said, okay, this is safe. We'll play this. They played the hell out of that song, but what happens? People buy the album and they want to hear more. Like when Brass Monkey comes out and they're talking about mixing up concoctions of liquor. All right. Girls are talking about grabbing girls' asses. You know, that's not safe for the radio. But you know what? When you blow up like that, you start getting that leverage, and they start playing those songs. There's several songs on that album that are they wouldn't play No Sleep Till Brooklyn at first, but they eventually did. So is that your mic? Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think something's clicking.
Oh.
It shows your face going, you know how the sound.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, it's like, and this is, of course, me addressing the breathing problem apparently from earlier.
Oh, you're muting. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? The breathing's okay.
And I'm back.
I would rather hear you breathe hard than the.
Okay. Anthony also says, William, what are your theories on the whole DB Cooper mystery? Do you think it's a single person was reported, or was it an inside job with the airlines? Multiple people were involved.
I think he's dead. And Bears.
Okay.
That's what I think. No, I think it was one person involved. It may have been a stewardess, but it wouldn't have needed to be.
All with the hijacking. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you're talking DB Cooper, there's only one thing you're talking about. I think that I don't know how when I see where he landed, I'm like, I think this guy just died and landed in the water and just never recovered. They found some of the money, but then again, maybe he lived. I mean, he was skilled enough. He had a plan, and maybe the one of the flight attendants. I don't think that the airline would have needed to be in on it, simply because he was an experienced pilot. He was an experienced jumper. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what altitude to tell them to go. He was giving them instructions and telling them he had a bomb. So if you're experienced, you're going to you don't need anybody to help. And plus, you have to share the money, and people talk. And after 50 years, people would have talked already. So
Reyes says Little Richard is the blueprint.
Yep.
And Droga says, and actually check your DMs, William, because I just sent you something kind of relating that David Bowie, the guy who can't be able to watch it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Now, when it comes to Little Richard, if you guys get the chance, there's a documentary called Little Richard, I Am Everything. It was on CNN. I recommend everybody watch it. Everybody should watch that documentary. Joga and everybody else, I'm gonna towards the end of the show. I'll drop the link after we're buzzing through these topics right now for a reason. So
that's part that was referencing a Droga there. So there you go, man. Okay, let's see who else. Mighty Raxus gives Zach the Punisher. Okay, yeah. I think he'd do a great Punisher. I think as far as Marvel characters are concerned, he's the ones he's expressed the most interest in are Daredevil and Elektra. So.
He would do a great Elektra.
Yeah, I think so.
He would do a great Elektra. So yeah, I think he would do it. I think he would pay Bill Sienkiewicz as Elektra, and I think he would put that on the screen, and it would be beautiful.
I have a theory for the LWO storyline, and Dread turns to Rayhan's his side of the elder and builds up with Zelina Cruz. Yeah. Okay.
I agree with all that. Because he would be the highest profile LWO person besides Rey Mysterio. So that's a good call, Anthony.
Vince says Beastie Boys started off as hardcore punk when they learned to play their instruments.
Yeah, and they started off, and there's still a tinge of punk in a lot of their stuff. But like I said, they created a genre. I don't know what to call their genre because it's rap, but it's rock. And there's sometimes where, like I said, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, there's some good ass guitar work and bass work and drum work on that. And that's a rap, but it's rock. I mean, it's its own thing. And that's what makes them so special. I mean, that album so special.
Well, speaking of Beastie Boys, Anthony has another one here. William, I have a serious question. Was there a resistance within the black community when the Beastie Boys debuted to accept them as a rap group because they felt they were appropriating their music?
Yes. Both ways. You had, it was tough. And like I said, Run DMC, I remember certain people calling Run DMC sellouts because they got on stage with Aerosmith, even though that rose Run DMC to a plateau. It wasn't just black folks. When you get to that plateau where everyone has access to your music, it's better. It's better for everyone. It's better for the band, the performer, because now they know who they're speaking to more people now, and it changes their music for the better, in my opinion. But yeah, Beastie Boys got shit on when they first came out.
I remember because Beastie Boys, their debuts kind of before my time. So, but in my generation, I remember kind of a similar thing happening with Eminem when he first broke out.
But see, it was, but Eminem, it wasn't as hard, and the reason why it wasn't as hard is because you had the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys in the time prior to Eminem, coming along, had kicked open those doors and kicked open that segregation. So when Eminem came out in the mid to late 90s, the Beastie Boys had already been doing it for about 12 years. And in the 90s, the Beastie Boys were at God level now. They were headlining multi-genre. It didn't matter if you had a rap concert and the Beastie Boys are probably the biggest name that you had on there. So what they were doing and all the time they do it made it okay for people to even experiment with it, because in the prior to them, the lines were pretty drawn and they were, the walls were pretty tall. So but it was, Eminem faced some current some headwinds, but the Beastie Boys was much worse, because like I said, they were doing it when MTV was just starting to realize that. By the time Eminem came around,
they broke it down a lot of those walls. Yeah,
they were ready for somebody like and Eminem and Dre and all the guys and Snoop Dogg, they had brought him up with them, and those guys, I mean, sure. Like I said, those guys, Dre in the 90s was like literally, he had his own Mount Rushmore. That was post Chronic Dre. Snoop Dogg with Doggy Style. I mean, you were under those. The black community was going to accept anybody that was rolling with those guys at the time.
Fourth says sprung to Spider-Man. As I tell Daniel, the other reason BVS resonates with me is because Batfleck is older. As I reach my mid 40s, I can't help but reflect on my piss and vinegar days that brought me here. Yeah,
wow. Deep retrospective shit.
Yeah, and then then add in that he lost a Robin and all that.
Yeah, child endangerment always.
Well, and how's it going, Andre?
How you doing?
As Andre says, smash the like button, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, hit the like and subscribe. Get us to the point where when Anthony gives us all these questions, we get to charge like shit tons of money.
Well, he's got another one here.
I'm just kidding, Anthony.
Was there heavy resistance to the black community when the VC? I think you got that one. Yeah, you got that one. Yeah, you just answered that. Yes, that one twice. Okay. Okay. Reyes says, speaking of which, Beck was a cool dude influenced by Beastie Boys.
Yep. Odelay and Mellow Gold, I think, was he had a song called "I'm a Loser." They played that song.
Yeah,
that song was everywhere. I'm a loser, baby.
Yeah. And Spider-Man, I think he's replying to Fourth here, saying, just read your comment, Fourth, pretty insightful. I still feel like a 15-year-old web slinger. let's see.
Sorry if I keep fidgeting with this hat. I need to change.
Reyes says, I'm an intern for the election committee. Oh, he's talking about the whole Rock for president.
Oh, my goodness. Like I said, much as I want to see The Rock in the main event of WrestleMania, he's going to have to run for office first. I mean, other than president. Lucky I'm not making the rules. You have to have public office before.
Yeah, here goes this Brad breathing Darth Vader thing.
I'd rather have him breathing hard than the clicking is driving.
I'm not breathing like other than I'm just breathing. So
I don't. It's not. They're just fucking with you.
Yeah. I can't see else in here. Ray is enjoying the DB Cooper theories.
Yeah, there's a whole cottage industry about that where they were looking through and they actually found some of the bills that they traced because they labeled the money and they found them, some of the dollars and all that. So it looks like he may have crash landed, but it might have died and did animals. It was in Washington State. All kinds of shit could have eaten you. He could have landed in the water and then the bag blown off. I mean, there's so many things, but whatever he did, they never saw him again. And
okay, let me pick up the next comment here.
That's hilarious. Brad comedy. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to check out the comment here. If I saw any of my main voice, maybe that'll work better for you guys. I'm going to say, Ray, I would love to see the Rock presidential debate. Now let me show you what the rest of the diplomacy. You really eat candy ass.
No. Pass.
Whatever happened to that one Australian Prime Minister with first swim I was ever found?
Sharks. Next one.
Yeah.
I can't take that voice anymore.
Okay. I was gonna do it for a little bit there.
It's like, oh no. You sound like Bane, and I hate his voice.
No, that's what I was trying to sound like Bane.
Oh, okay.
Jorgen says, I think he probably would have done a good Punisher too.
Still may.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the kind of the point Williams made.
He's gonna have some free time up. He's not working for DC.
Well, to that point, I mean, Williams said that's the point he's made pretty consistently, and I've been on board with that. When these filmmakers or actors say, "I'm done with DC," or "I'm done with Cape shit," or "I'm done with this or that," it's like that might reflect their feelings in the moment, but if circumstances change, you can't write that off. And especially when it involves like potentially like healing old wounds, like a lot of these actors, filmmakers have with everything that kind of happened with the Suicide Squad and JL.
Or he just gets a big check and they say, "Here, we're going to make you a highly paid full." And
and Beekeeper is like, I'm getting more excited for that by the minute because I mean the reactions I've seen to that, it's like, oh man, bring that on. It sounds like almost again my initial kind of interpretation of it was that it's John Wick with Statham, but it also sounds like William will probably like say, "Oh, like this is like Statham like kind of returning to his transporter roots."
Yeah, and like I said, he just doesn't do movies I don't like. Like I said, if there was a way I would dislike the movie, if he's in it, it's going to give me. I can.
Oh yeah, and he tried so hard with Expendables 4.
Yeah, it's just you can't. Some things you can't overcome, and like I said, that franchise is done.
Yeah, it sucks, but what are you gonna do? Zach wants to. Yeah, he's spoken. Finally, I bet he'd kill it with the Hulk. And actually, it's interesting you say that too because I've kind of looking back at the Ang Lee Hulk, I've always kind of likened that to, it's almost like Marvel's Batman Returns. But you could also like probably compare it to a lot of what Zach's kind of his approach with like with BVS. I mean, it's it's not it's got a darker tone. It's not treating the material with kids' gloves. It's and it polarized a lot of people when it's time.
Listen, The Rock can be at the Elimination Chamber. I don't care. The Rock could be literally at the Elimination Chamber and speaking in third person in an Australian accent. He can be anywhere he wants to be. Come WrestleMania main event, wherever else The Rock is, that's fine. But it better be at the main event WrestleMania. I just can't see. I just can't. You guys are trying to talk this other stuff into existence, and I'm like, there's a bunch of old guys that want money, and they're not going to pass this up.
And then this applies to the appropriating the culture and music of Beastie Boys. What are your thoughts on the whole thing with Millie Mill, the leader of Furious 5, saying Eminem only got to where he was because he was white, not because of his talent as a lyricist and a rapper?
No, he got to where he was because he was associated with the two most popular rappers on any level at the time. Remember who he came up through and who was producing his stuff. Um, it's Jay knew talent at that point. And at this point in his career, he knew Dr. Dre saw something in Snoop Dogg's most you like literally there's two of the most powerful money making rappers in the history of the game saw something in that guy and cultivated it. That's why he got to the top of where he was. People say that shit, and the fact that he's a white rapper and it opens the door for that. But once you heard him, him, you're like Eminem's a top tier performer. He's an Academy Award winning rapper.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
He mile and didn't even show up to get the award. Then performed 20 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah,
I thought that was a cool moment.
I thought it was too.
Because he couldn't make it for to pick up his award. Now he was there. Eminem, yeah, he's a white rapper, but once again, the road has already been laid down for that to even happen. And two, Dr. Dre's not just going to come up to any white guy and be like, "Hey, come with me." No, he saw something in him, and like I said, those two guys and Death Row, all those guys pushed him. And but if he didn't have any talent, he would have still been just another white guy rapping. He'd have been 8 Mile, but not breaking through.
Well, also, I mean, like, again, you see like the freestyle, the rap battling, and he did, and that's something. I mean, I remember the first time I saw that. It's like, I mean, that's a skill that just completely eludes me. Where it's like, I mean, the fact that he and the other rapper, the fact they could just like come up with something on the fly like that.
That's the culture, though. That's what they do.
I couldn't do that though. It's like I don't have. It's like I mean, I could string together, like if I wanted to, like string together a really creative insult, like that. But I just couldn't do it. Just like that spur of the moment and turn it into like a lyrical kind of thing. It's like that takes a lot. That takes some serious talent.
And he has his vision,
serious improvisational skills.
Yeah, his vision goes beyond just rapping, though. He took Dido's song, Stan. Actually, no, Stan was a Dido song, and he took that and added rap to it and blew that up. Lose Yourself is a legit mega hit. That everybody was singing that song. If I hear one person hashtagging Mom Spaghetti, I'm like, that's how big that song was. And then he does stuff in there. Like I said, he was a visionary. He wasn't just a rapper. I mean, once he got big, Slim Shady was huge.
And he got big. He got big enough to get the Secret Service on him at one point for about George Bush.
Yeah, and he did some shit about Trump. But hey, Eminem, I like his stuff. So, but yeah, he did get a lot of heat. But eventually, as time passed, people realized he's legit. So there you go.
William, I don't know how much longer I can keep up tonight. And fourth, as is pointing at the problem I have tonight.
When he's got the thing.
Yeah.
By the way, Dyson dying. I'm so happy that T3 got made to explain why everything didn't disappear.
The T3 did?
Yeah, because if Dyson dies, then the movie's over. Everything is over. If Dyson was the reason, if Cyberdyne was the reason for Skynet being created, then once he's dead and they burn all and melt all those parts, John Connor disappears. Because there's no reason to ever send him back. And if he doesn't come back, if Kyle Reese doesn't come back, nobody has a reason to come back. The only person that has a reason to be there is Sarah Connor. And she's with no kid or nothing. She's just walking around, just, where am I? That's what that should have happened. But since that didn't happen, that told you that wasn't what created, But like I said, that's why I like Terminator 3.
And Ray, I think this is about my Bane thing. This is my precious Warframe. Well, I do aim to please. I was born in the darkness, and it's like no one knew who I was, so I put on the mask, and I was fully a man, and it was totally blinded. But I'm a huge I'm not a fan of Thor: Love and Thunder. like he's made things I like. He's done
Jojo Rabbit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what we do in the shadow. If they do this, if he comes in as a referee, dude, are you serious? I mean, that's a cop out. Because that's not solving the head of the table. That's not resolving the head of the table. So no, I don't do that.
What Reyes says,
they're
William,
ass.
thoughts on new Nosferatu? Sorry to derail. I don't think
It
we're
looks
derailing.
great. No, it's our show is fantastic. It looks great. I'm looking forward to it. I thought, like I said, the last remake, the true, not the Shadow of the Vampire, but the semi porn that Klaus Kinski made. I didn't think that one just creeped me. I have it here on VHS. It's just a creepy movie, not in the way I like to be creeped out, by the way. So I am looking for something that's a little bit more true to form. I've always wanted to see. I was hoping that they'd have it ready for the 100th anniversary last year, or 2 years ago, but it just wasn't ready. They didn't have anything going. But I am definitely looking forward to Nosferatu.
Anthony asks, Feige was on Mouth. Recent reviews said the characters like Punisher, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Defenders, Iron Fist, Daredevil, Echo, and Blade are all going to be in the spotlight banner.
This means you're going to be on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, if you've seen the new trailer for Echo, I mean, it's pretty much stating up front that they're canon. They're not beating around the bush anymore. It seems to be indicating they're canonizing Netflix Daredevil within
that
the
leads
MCU.
me into my next thumbnail. Wow,
and by extension, of course, all of Marvel Netflix. But yes, take it away, man.
That was smooth, Bradley. Yeah, the biggest problem I've had with Netflix, not Netflix, but with Marvel and their treatment of the Netflix shows and that they don't exist and all that stuff was the fact that some of those shows are really good. Daredevil, especially, was good. And now they bring in Charlie Cox over, and they're bringing Vince Vaughn, and they're saying, "Well, we're going to do, that's not connected to that, but they're, some kind of bullshit." Now it seems like they are doing the right thing, in my opinion, and they are making the Netflix stuff canon to what's going on now. It appears that way. I want to see them go all the way, bring back Deborah Roll, like we were talking last night on the night. Yeah, we can't have her doing porn. Maybe we can't have her doing heroin. I understand that, but I think she's a very important part to the story that you may try to tell. But if you give me a show with the look and feel of that Netflix show, the grittiness of that Netflix show, I'm down. I'm down because I love that show. That show, it was like somebody had Frank Miller sitting on their shoulder saying, no, cross that T and dot that I. That show has a look and feel of the Bendis era, the Brubaker era, and all the best elements of the Frank Miller era. The three best people, in my opinion, that ever work on Daredevil are all represented in the storytelling in those series. So I am thrilled that it appears that that this is going to be canon and that we are dealing with the same, things. And I always thought there was no reason not to. But Kevin Feige, I got to give him credit. He has evolved from if I didn't bring it up, if it didn't come from this thing that I created, that it doesn't. It's the only things that fit with the story I'm telling are the things I created using the story I'm telling. He's relented from that a little bit more. Years ago, you wouldn't have had a Deadpool situation because he would have just kept it separate. He wouldn't have never, done it. Even if they had acquired it, he would have kept it on a different label.
Yeah, and even with how popular Daredevil and a lot of Marvel Netflix was, they still always kind of kept the Netflix shows at arm's length. So maybe the kind of the more mixed reception post Endgame has played a role in a lot of that. But I mean, I think it's for the best. And Spider-Man says, I've been saying it for 10 damn years. Daredevil is the best of Marvel, hands down.
And he's evolved, and that's what I mean. When you would hear conversations from him or earlier on 8, 9, 10 years ago, it would be like, nah, these things are not part of our things. No, it'll be we'll. But now he has evolved to the point where he's not a prisoner of those statements. Now he's willing to do something like this. He didn't create these characters. He didn't produce these characters, but now these characters are in his universe, but they're going to maintain their canon. That's great news because I know a lot of people, especially once you saw the She-Hulk debacle, were worried and rightfully so. I mean, if you're going to get Charlie Cox, if you're going to get Vincent D'Onofrio, let them be who they are.
Let him be the kingpin that's like smashing people's heads with doors and
and the Daredevil that beats the shit out of you to the point where it's like, well, you need to rethink your life of crime because he just slammed you. He took you in a 4-foot hallway and basically beat you at angles that the human body shouldn't be able to be beaten at. Yeah. That's the kind of Daredevil that's in the comic books, and that's the kind of Daredevil that they put in that look. That costume is perfect. I hate the yellow and blue.
I thought for what it was, they did good with it, but again, it's not my again, it's not my default like Daredevil suit in terms of like
No,
either
that's the
live action
original
or
suit.
comics.
That's the original suit. And what issue did he get the red suit? I think he had the yellow suit. What issue?
Well, the thing I really dug about the show when it started was the fact that they started out with the black suit, with the ninja suit, because that was for anybody who kind of a little bit of a Daredevil history here, is that he did, when the first time he had that suit, it was on when they did the Trial of the Incredible Hulk TV movie, and Daredevil was Daredevil was a guest on there, and they didn't for whatever reason they couldn't do the horn suit, so they gave him kind of this ninja suit.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm giving kind of a background of the black suit.
Oh, the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that's where the black suit started out, and then I mean, it's CBMs, it wasn't just weren't where they are now at the time, so it's like
NBC
people
with the devil horns.
Yeah. So people had to just kind of take what they could get at that point, but then they picked up that ball and ran with it, because then I think it was in. Was it in which Daredevil story was it in? They worked it in the comics. Was it it wasn't Born Again. It was it Man Without Fear? I think it was Man Without Fear.
You're talking about where he had the black and red cut? No, it was the glow in the dark cover. I have that because I have the action figure that came with it.
Yeah, and they eventually worked the black suit, the ninja black suit, into the comics from the Trial of the Incredible Hulk show, and then after that, so you had that canonically, worked into Daredevil's comic book lore, and then then we get to the Netflix show, and they make that the black suit his starting point, and then of course when they get to season 3, they revert to that, because they're doing this really dark Born Again inspired story. So that was something I was really loved about how they handled Daredevil on Netflix, was how much they really embraced that black suit, and the kind of the grassroots manner of his crime fighting in Hell's Kitchen.
Well, okay, so the origin of the black suit came from after he was trained. Daredevil, people forget, Daredevil's a ninja.
Yes, exactly.
He's not just a superhero with that who can see. He's a ninja. Stick was a ninja. Stick trained him. Stick trained him
with the hand, or with the hand, and with the chase. The two ninja. In fact, sorry, just quick interjection. Ninja Turtles, like a lot of the Ninja Turtles mythos is inspired by Daredevil. So you have Splinter is kind of based on Stick, the Foot Clan is based on the hand, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly. Elektra is a ninja, ninja assassin, because they're not wearing the traditional thing. People forget that. Daredevil, before he got his red costume and started crime fighting, the way he met Elektra was when her father was killed, just like the movie, but he fought off those guys, but that's the first time he covered his face because he didn't need to see. He had his powers at that point, and that's why he would use that costume. And a lot of what he does, his costume originally does not have eye holes, obviously, but he's a straight up ninja. He can actually, even if he didn't have his powers, Daredevil is probably one of the most formidable, if not the most formidable, hand-to-hand combat person. Like I said, understand what a ninja is, and not just in fighting style. He can do those tricks
tactically. Yeah,
he knows those tricks. Daredevil could be sitting next to you the entire time
and just pull a Batman, and you turn over, and then you turn back, and he's gone.
He's there. He has those ninja. He's been trained by a ninja. So he wore a ninja type costume with just over his eyes. But yeah, Daredevil, people don't forget, and Frank Miller did an excellent job in putting that out there. And John Romita Jr. also during that run, reminding you that this guy isn't just some blind dude who does this little sonar. He's a straight up ninja, and he kills. That one storyline when he brought Elektra back to life, and he sent all them ninjas after his ass, and he just tosses them all over the mountain. They couldn't stop him, but yeah, that was good to hear that. I'm happy that they're doing that. Obviously, they're going to have to leave some stuff out if it's Disney. Yeah.
Yeah, well, even Netflix didn't go into the porn star aspect of it.
But get close enough. So, all right, that covers that topic.
Well, let me ask a little bit on that, because, of course, I mean, it makes sense that they would lead with Daredevil, Marvel Studios, as far as the Netflix characters, because he started all, and B, his show was the most acclaimed out of all of them. But as I said, if because those are interconnected, if you're canonizing Netflix Daredevil, by extension, you're canonizing all of Marvel Netflix. So it was kind of one of your general thoughts on.
Necessarily, not
really.
You would think so? Not necessarily. because there's entanglements that some of those characters might have with versions of that are already established as far as the Defenders goes and who they interact with. They may. I think that Daredevil is one of the most popular and most successful out of them. That it will be Daredevil and then the Punisher.
Well, Punisher is going to be in Born Again.
Yeah, so it all depends on how how that goes. I think that if it works out, I think you'll see a full integration. But I wouldn't automatically expect it because I think this is a miracle that we're getting this.
Yeah, so this is kind of testing the waters also to extend about as far as like the rest of Marvel Netflix. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But like I said, this is going to be successpeople. So
yeah, I think if you're, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of reason because of the popularity of Daredevil on Netflix. I mean, if
people were pissed when that show got and it didn't get canceled because people were watching it. It got canceled because of the license expired and they decided they didn't want to. Marvel decided they wanted to get all their characters back. They were in that mindset that everything that we know that we either licensed out or we want it all back under one guy now. But they didn't realize that there's a legacy built up with that particular character that I don't think they could have replicated. And then, like I said, seeing him, the She-Hulk thing was embarrassing.
Spider-Man: No Way Home, that cameo was fantastic, though. That was the first big in that movie. That was the first big cheer moment of my life. Like as soon as that cane came down, I mean, they just went.
Him getting mounted by She-Hulk and then chased off and doing the whole call me thing. I'm like, oh my god.
But kind of going back to the.
I got to use the bathroom real quick, so go ahead and breathe hard.
Yeah, sure, no problem. But part of the reason I brought that up too is, of course, as far as the rest of the Netflix characters go, of course, I was going to say yes, Iron Fist did not have the best start, and I'm a fan of the character, big time. I mean, obviously, the martial arts theme of Iron Fist is similar to Daredevil. Him, they're both very martial arts heavy characters, but also, I really, really enjoyed like the Immortal Iron Fist run. The Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker. That was what got me into Iron Fist as avidly reading the character. And yes, season 1, not the best start. I will agree. But like Iron Fist Defenders on. Okay, they fixed it. It was good. He was Danny Rand was I really dug him. And then Iron Fist season 2, like again, it's like that is such a 180 from season 1. It's like if season 1 had been as good as season 2, we would not be talking about the Iron Fist in the kind of terms we had to, is like in terms of like a comeback or like what a comeback would mean. So yeah, I'm really hoping because I love the way they ended season 2 about setting up them. They're going to go find his Iron Fist predecessor, Orson Randall. That's what killed me when the show got canceled. I was really looking forward to that. So that is my hope that Marvel's reintegration of Daredevil and Punisher that's as William said, that's received well enough that they decide, okay, let's go ahead and bring back the rest of Marvel Netflix, with the Iron Fist and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. And the other thing too, it's like just with Luke Cage, when they had he and Danny on Defenders, and then they had Danny on season 2. That was the other thing I really dug, is because they're best friends in the comics, and I really, Finn Jones and Mike Coulter, they really they really captured. I felt, especially when they did the team up in Luke Cage season 2, they really captured the Power Man and Iron Fist partnership that they cultivated through all the years of comic book lore, and they did a fastball special in that episode. It's usually Colossus throwing Wolverine. This time it was Luke Cage throwing Iron Fist. So that is my hope that my boy Danny Rand he gets he got a lot of redemption with season 2, but my hope is that it's like the rising tide of Daredevil and leading to the Netflix characters rejoining the MCU that extends to him, and we'll see. We get to kind of see how that was all supposed to play out as was intended. But let me go ahead and get into the comments here.
Wow, they got to make marijuana smell better. I'm sorry.
While you stepped out, I went on my whole thing about Iron Fist and how they would kind of go with him if Daredevil and Punisher really connect, and they decide, okay, we're going to bring all of Marvel Netflix back, and because I said it's like the Matt Fraction, the Immortal Iron Fist run with Matt Fraction and Ed Brubaker. That was really my introduction to the character comics wise, and it really pulled me in. And then again, season 1, not the best start. Defenders on, really dug, and then season 2, again, it's such a 180 from season 1. If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it enough. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the comments here. Let's see. Daniel says Netflix Daredevil may be canon, but they're continuing that tone, though. I think you might mean that it may not be. I'm not sure what you mean here.
I think it's canon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it sounds like also with just the total overhaul they're giving Born Again, it's like they definitely want to. I think that signals to me they definitely want to get back to the tone of Netflix Daredevil. Anthony asks, William, clarify. Figgy said, I think you mean Feige, said it in the interview too that the Spotlight banner is going to have more mature content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
this is a smart thing because I understand why for a long time they did not want to do that. They had that nuclear family and they wanted to make it safe. They wanted to make Disney safe for you to be able to sit your kid in front of and just be able to go through it without finding anything offensive. The thing about that is eventually your audience grows up and you have to grow with them while at the same time maintaining that safe zone for the kids as well. But if you're going to grow, and especially in the world of streaming, you got to have something on there for everybody. If you started your audience at 9-10 years old, you want them just to leave once they're done with the kid stuff? No, you want to cultivate them and keep them going. So this is a smart thing for them to do. Yes, you'll always be Disney, but you can control streaming to the point where you can put some R-rated stuff on there. And if you're parent, you got parental controls on Disney. You got all kinds of ways to. So, and you didn't always have all this stuff. So I understand why they would do it at the beginning, but now it's time. Your audience is maturing and they're growing up and they're getting into the workforce. They're having their own kids. They're dealing with stuff. They're not kids anymore. So it's time for this tone to come. I don't think it should be the dominant tone, but I don't think they should exclude it like they were before.
Well, that's why that's why I think Marvel Netflix really was so successful and really took off during that time, because the tone did offer a counterbalance to you had the more kind of lighthearted comedic family friendly tone in the MCU movies, and then you had something that was darker and more down to earth and more mature. All the Netflix shows, they were movies, they'd all be rated R. I mean, there's no two ways about that. So that was I thought a really kind of winning strategy to have that kind of that yin and yang between their kind of cosmic the heroes battling like cosmic threats and your street level heroes. So and by the way, also kind of a little bit more context with Daredevil too, of talking about like why when the show ended. For those of you who may not know, the reason why it was so long between when the show ended and when he appeared in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Marvel and Netflix, part of their contract that stipulated that once the shows ended, they had a 2-year moratorium on those characters. So it's basically like once Daredevil ended, once Iron Fist ended, once Luke Cage ended, whatever. It's like Marvel couldn't use those characters for 2 years after that.
And the bigger reason I heard it because he had no plans originally of using those characters once that went down. Kevin Feige at that time was of the mentality of that, we can do our own Daredevil. And that was one of those things that no one was expecting to see Daredevil in that movie prior to it being announced that he's in the movie, because of that fact. Nothing that hadn't happened before. If you look at prior, and Daredevil's the one that broke the dam. If you looked at prior to everything that they created for MCU was created within the MCU.
Yeah.
That was how he kept control over his story and the elements of his story and the tone of his story. The Daredevil thing was probably a game. No, it was a game changer.
Exactly. It was. Now you got Deadpool. It was as much a game changer as like having Toby and Andrew in No Way Home.
Well, by that time the game had already get blown up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was an open secret.
That was so funny. That's so funny.
It's so funny.
Oh,
Andrew. Every poor Andrew Garfield. Every interview he had to deny he was in it.
And it was, he was supposed to, and like I said, the fact that we all knew, just because you know something is coming doesn't make it any less special. Like I said, and RJ, if you're still here, RJ was with me here in Vegas when we had that full ass theater, and
Toby and Andrew showed up,
and especially when Andrew showed up, you knew Toby was there as soon as you saw Andrew for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But when he comes through. Because obviously it's him, it's Spider-Man, but unless you were real keen, you couldn't see.
But once he got close enough,
you saw those big eyes that they
it's
had.
Like, oh boy, here he is, and then he runs through, and then that got cheers, and then that got like a double dose of cheers, and he pulled off his mask.
Yeah, when he pulled off his mask and everybody was like, "Oh, I mean," because you knew it was like you knew it was, but it was
And then,
special to see that. And then when Toby comes in, he just comes in regular, but he didn't have to be in costume. He was still be required.
Well, and the way Ned Leeds puts it, where he says, "Okay, we didn't get RP, or we got to try again here," and then the whole audience is like, "Oh, we see where this is going."
Yeah, I knew exactly what happened. The best part of that, my favorite part of that movie though, is when Andrew Garfield saves MJ. Because of that whole thing with that, and that crowd, once again, the crowd that was with me just erupted.
Yes.
Because not only did you know what that meant to that particular Spider-Man to be able to save her, but what it meant to Spider-Man in general was when Gwen Stacy means to Spider-Man. Unless you're Miles Morales, you get lucky you can get a living one. But the general, what that meant for him and how that changed his character, how it changed Garfield's character, because he even tells you, I went to a dark place after that. So for him to be able to save her, it was that, to me, it was that Martha moment. Now, if you got the reasoning why he was, him saving her meant that to Andrew Garfield, but the same people can't. Oh, jeez, same brain cells you use to not figure that out. You can't figure that out. But
it's it's kind of. It's also what William talks about resolution, character resolution or franchise, and that's what you got, there with Garfield. And
if you never see them again, if you never saw them again, you had something.
It still put a bow on their stories.
Yeah, and that's what they should have done with DC. Like I said, we may never get an Amazing Spider-Man 3, and we should. I
think we will.
But if we never do, the last time you saw Andrew Garfield on your screen was in a kick-ass moment. The last time you saw Toby got a resolution, but the last time, your last memories of those Spider-Men were in a kick-ass moment. That's a huge healing point right there. But I enjoyed that movie.
It was really. I mean, of course, it came out the same year as ZSJL, and that's also what made that special. Is like you had those two both kind of as far as like CBMs, those two kind of bookend. 2021 ZSJL was first, and No Way Home was last as far as CBMs that year, and they both. You look at them side by side; they both have a lot of historical significance, in different ways, obviously. But the fact that they each bookend, the year as far as superheroes went, that just really kind of made the icing on the cake for both of them. Anthony here says, Brad William, I think Matt Reeves will do well with standalone Namor for maybe Benicio del Toro for me.
Well, they can't do a standalone Namor right now.
Yeah,
he reached a deal with which Universal is more than willing to. They're not doing anything.
Says, I think so. You think he needs like a new version of the red suit, or
I think his suit's fine.
Do you think we'll ever see the 2 Ds on his chest?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why? Oh yes, it must. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. That's pretty much been like the only, because the suit was so well designed on Netflix. That's
aren't the 2Ds? I got pictures of him from that era with the 2Ds on.
I think that's no, they're not on the show, so that's probably like fan art. But that's pretty much the only thing missing from the suit. And I think about it too is like I didn't even think like the Ben Affleck suit was that bad.
No, just the movie was.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but it's like it really. I think the show kind of another thing exemplified is the fact that that some DC and Marvel characters some of them are better suited for for episodic stuff than necessarily like a like a 2-hour movie, and I think Daredevil kind of falls into that. I'd also love to hear. I'm surprised nobody's ever asked him this. I'd love to hear like somebody ask Ben Affleck. It's like as having played Daredevil yourself, what are your thoughts on the Charlie Cox the show, and kind of what his tenure's been like. I'd love to hear his thoughts on that.
I don't. He probably doesn't have any.
Well, a part of that's because he was pretty. I mean, the reason why he was so reluctant for so long to do anything like Batman was because he was unsatisfied with how Daredevil turned out. So yeah, that'd be something I would be interested.
Yeah, in that went nowhere. I haven't heard anything from him.
Yeah. He got. There was talk about him having some legal trouble, and there have been like updates on that yet. And of course, we hope that if it's as bad as it initially sounded, which apparently it sounded like it could have been on the level like what Jonathan Majors had. So you hope that
I lost a lot of respect for him, even if
that whole thing about like texting that don't go to the hospital because we got to preserve my image. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
I'm like, dude,
that was not cool at all. Let's see, and Nova says throw some D's on it too. Yeah. Let's see those D's on the upper chest.
Okie dokie, comic book turning point time. This was the stories that are near and dear to my heart, and a lot of you guys know Tales of the Jedi, Knights of the Old Republic from video games and some of the stuff that came on later. Almost all of it was inspired by this comic book series in the mid 90s that came out from 1994 to 1997. Tales of the Jedi, Knights of the Old Republic was by Dark Horse. It was based on some of the Zahn stuff. Simi Vetch did the covers. It was set 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin in the same system. If Star Wars does another set of movies and they ever get out of the fucking Skywalker neighborhood, then I would like them to go thousands of years ahead or back to this era. This era gave us a lot of things that a lot of people take for granted. You know that dual lightsaber that you see Darth Maul with? It was first seen by a character called Exar Kun, who was a Sith Lord, a real Sith Lord. The Sith Lord that you see in the Darth Sidious and the Emperor and all that guy's a clown compared to what Exar Kun was.
And by the way, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break too, so I'll be right back.
Okay. This was back in the era where the Sith were thousands of years before were a race of people. They were alchemists and they were a race of people, that used alchemy. They were forbidden, the Republic and the Jedi Order was forbidden. Now there were a certain group of Jedi who left the Jedi Order and intermingled and mated with them, and literally Sith wasn't something you became. It was a religion and it was a race. And Knights of the Old Republic centers around two major characters at the beginning, Clay and Ulick Qualjama. They're brothers, and it's the story about how two brothers could be raised together, trained together, and one of them gets lured to the dark side while the other is heroic. One of them tries to infiltrate the Sith, and there's another Jedi. And it starts out with these Jedi, just regular Jedi trainees. Ulick Clay, they're training under one master, and then you have Exar Kun, who is a trainee. He doesn't start off as a Sith Lord. He doesn't start off as evil. He's arrogant. He's a jackass. He ends up wanting to explore the Sith lore. He thinks he can control it. He thinks it's not going to hurt him. He thinks he's been trained well enough. So he goes to Yavin 4, places like the Masazi temples, all the stuff that you hear about later in Star Wars. And he starts investigating what it is because he's curious. He ends up happening upon a spirit called Freedon Nad. And he's part of the story too. Freedon Nad was a Sith Lord. He was a powerful Sith Lord. The things that you see Darth Sidious or the Emperor do is like if a con man found a magician's box of tricks and just tried to use them. That's basically what Darth Sidious was, or the Emperor Palpatine was, in comparison to a true Sith Lord. He was immensely powerful. He'd been dead for 1,000 years, and his spirit detected a Jedi, and he brought down this temple on him and broke his legs. And the only way Exar Kun could escape is if he gave into the dark magic, which would heal him. He does this, and he uses his newfound power to snuff out Freedon Nad, because that's what Sith Lords do. And then he goes around the galaxy to other Jedi students, corrupting them, and that's how he gains his power. Ulick Qualjama is a good guy. He's sent to infiltrate this threat, and he ends up getting lured by it. And that's how you have the Sith War, the original Sith War. But these stories, you get to see all the systems that you see in modern Star Wars. The Empress Teta system, which is where Yavin 4. Yavin 4 is not just a place that they launched the attack on the Death Star from. Yavin 4 was actually has Jedi and Sith temples in there as well. The lightsabers are different. They're much more rudimentary. The way Jedi are trained. Everything is different. There are species in here that are Jedi. There's a hut. Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt, not Jabba the Hutt, but there is a hut that is a Jedi. And he's actually pretty formidable. And huts can move around and slip around. You just because you didn't see Jabba do it, but you had those in there. You had the first appearance of the Sith holocron was in Dark Empire, but it also shows here because that master from Luke's time, this story is being told through the holocron as a warning for future generations that the dark side can lure you. At the same time, Dark Empire and the new Emperor was trying to, hey, what's up? Is trying to lure to Luke. So this is 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Everything about the Jedi is different. They don't walk around with these black cloaks and stuff like that. If you look at here, they look a lot like they look in here, and these covers were beautiful. The covers are all painted covers. There's Yula Kojama, Nomi Sunrider. If you're in the Star Wars and you're kind of tired of where the storytelling is taking you, I have these here. I always recommend these to people because there are stories that are rooted in Jedi and Sith lore, but in a different way. The Mandalorians in here are a race of people. They are a race of people that live in this big tree community, and you see the masks that they wear. There are similarities to the Mandalorians that you see in Boba Fett and all that. But this is the would have been the first interaction with the Mandalorians. You don't have stormtroopers. You don't have a lot of that stuff. The way that they go through hyperdrive is almost like they're sailing. Because hyperdrive is brand new in this era. But you see, you don't see any, any Luke Leia. You don't see any of that stuff. You see the species that you'll eventually see down there. But there are 25,000 Jedi throughout the galaxy at this point, and they're training a lot more. And you have Jedi Masters of all different shapes. I mean, there's Jedi Masters with 4 legs. There's there's Twi'lek, Jedi Masters. All the species that you are familiar with. They're all in here. But the way there hadn't been any wars such. Now, Tales of the Jedi, Dark Knights of the Knights of the Old Republic leads into the Sith War, because that's when the Exar Khan has recruited like a lot of people now, and he's declaring war on the Republic. Exar Khan is so powerful in the Force that he could use the Force to turn a sun nova and destroy a galaxy. He did that just to escape. He used the Force, to turn a sun, make a sun go nova, and he destroyed a galaxy full of people. That's how powerful he was. He could also do everything that the Emperor could do, but he didn't burn out his body. See, the Emperor being a phony, he can't control what the energy does to his body, because he's, like I said, he's just a guy who came along some stuff and used it. Whereas these guys in this story are developing the magic. Exar Khan has direct access to the people who develop the dark side. So if there were a fight between Exar Khan and Emperor Palpatine at his best, it would last all of maybe a minute. And that's because it would take probably a minute for Exar Khan to get to him or force choke him and get to him. But the Jedi in this era were really powerful. The ones in Star Wars are pretty watered down compared to the way things were done here. It's an excellent story. It's broken up into a series. It starts out Knights of the Old Republic. Tales of Jedi came out the same time as the Freedon Nad Uprising goes through. The Freedon Nad Uprising introduces you to Freedon Nad, who is a legit, very powerful Sith Lord. And he no longer has a corporal body anymore. He no longer he's part of the Force. And he's immortal that way until Exar Khan kills him. And a Freedon Nad Uprising is when the first time that the dark side people from the Force rose up and started losing people to Sith Lords. After that, it's Tales of the Jedi, Knights of the Republic. After that, it's Sith War. And Yula Kojama. And the cool thing about this is this is before the movies, the prequel series came out. And everybody was like, well, how does Darth Vader turn evil? How could you do that? I mean, how could you just wipe out all these people if he was once good one day? What this book does is it shows you the pathway, and it has you rooting for certain people, and they slowly turn. So like you're rooting for Ulick because he's a hero in this one story, but by the time the Sith War is over, you want him to die because he's killed millions of people because he's now part of the dark side, and the way he stopped is really cool. But I'll let you guys read it. You guys should read this. I can't give you the whole story, but I can tell you that if you like Star Wars and you're looking for something that's not entangled in the cul-de-sac that is the Skywalker mud, this is good reading. This is good reading. It's an easy read. You can get them anywhere. You can get them anywhere. You got them here. You can get them anywhere for cheap. Amazon has them. Barnes and Nobles has them. Any place that sells books or comic books will generally have this.
I'm sorry, William. Did you just call a comic book story a cul-de-sac?
No, the Star Wars, the
the Skywalker, yeah,
Skywalker.
Well, yeah, but you use the term cul-de-sac. That hurts my ears these days.
Going to be tied to Ann Sarnoff and those clowns. The coolest thing about these was the covers. Each cover was painted. The artwork inside was different, but each one of these covers, and let me show you a different version of it. I loved it because this was right when I was coming out. When I was opening my store. These came out the same year that my store was open for business for a full year. So you have covers like this, painted. There's one cover where the Jedi Master is. When they kill the Jedi Master, his cloak is all that's left. They had those on there. Let me show you and like I said, the games. Like here's the game, the Knights of the Old Republic. That is based off of that Darth Revan, that character in there was working for Exar Kun. He escaped the purge. And there's one with a hut. They're on Tatooine. That's not Jabba, but that's a hut, obviously. And let's see. This was the Freedon Nad Uprising. This is the one that introduces most of these characters, and it introduces Freedon Nad. Let's see. This is another one, part of the Tales of the Jedi, the Golden Age of the Sith. Now, what this does, it explains the meeting of the Dark Jedi, or the Jedi who weren't dark at the point, and the Sith, how they mated with the Sith. And this is the Golden Age of the Sith simply because the Sith were banished to this world, and because they alchemy was considered dark magic. So when they started basically intermingling with these people, they literally created a race of Jedi and alchemy. And that's how the Sith began. Let's see. Yeah, I carry these all the time. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that and this is Dark Lords of the Sith. This is number one. I love these comics, and that's all painted. That's Nomi Sunrider. If you read it, you'll get to know who she is. She's a very important part. But yeah, like I said, if you're into Star Wars, and you're kind of tired of where it's been, and you're not, you just can't connect to the story, or you're tired of hearing the word Skywalker over and over again, this is the good stuff. I did play that game. And it is amazing. And it's like I said, the fact that it's directly connected to this series was what got me in. The originals. You're talking about the Alchemist, right, Spidey? Yeah, but no, the power, Exar Kun, like I said, literally used the Force with very little effort to turn the sun to make the sun. That was like really weird. But yeah, and I think that was the planet. But yeah, they were a race. They were a race of alchemists, and that's what happened. Let's see. The Old Republic. Yeah, see, a lot of you guys know this story. A lot of you guys you came through the story. Yeah, the Sith out, and like I said, the Golden Age of the Sith was one of the last of them to come out, and it was, dude, it's beautifully done. It's beautifully done, and it explains a lot that they just don't talk about because you're Skywalker. Luke, Leia, new people playing them. Let's put young people's faces on them. Let's keep it going forever. Let's never escape the atmosphere. Nah, this gives you a history lesson and gives you an understanding of how powerful the Jedi were, but how the Sith came about. And a lot of these temples, Exar Khan actually ends up getting entombed because he tries to do what Freedon Nad did, which is escape the people who are attacking by becoming a non-corporeal figure, but he gets trapped in the Massassi temple. And you hear about him again with the Luke Skywalker books that came out, where he's training one of Han Solo's kids, his nephews, and Exar Kun. You hear about him from the first time there because he takes over one of Luke's students. That's how. And then they started telling the story going back. Dawn of the Jedi. I just hope they don't go too. I don't want to know everything about the mystery of the Jedi. I don't have anything against Scott Eastwood.
And Fort's got a similar one to that. When do we see movies based on this stuff?
Exactly. Like, you give me these things that I'm like, I grew up with Star Wars. I've been dealing with the same shit for 40 years, dude. I don't need to see any more Luke. Nothing. No more Skywalkers. Give me Star Wars. And like I said, this is when I was on Enosh's show, we'd be banging heads about this. He's like, they couldn't have done that because nobody would have come and see it. I'm like, you're fucking Star Wars. You take the risk. Don't be a fucking pansy. You're so afraid to expand Star Wars that you can't do something about the Skywalkers. Damn, I'm glad that Star Trek didn't think that way. I would have never gotten Jean-Luc Picard. I would have never gotten Janeway. Every time you step into the Star Wars universe, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where when these people start to die off or get super old, we're just going to plaster their face on something and keep going with the same characters. There's thousands of years of all of this. And this is my point of bringing this up, is there's thousands of years of history there. And this goes back to 4,000 years. Not a Skywalker in sight. Not a mention. They mentioned them at the beginning because they're using the Sith holocron to tell, and the Jedi holocron. And by the way, Episode 2, Attack of the Clone, was supposed to have those holocrons in there. And that's what Obi-Wan was using to find out about the information he had. But they cut that out of the movie. But when they released the book, the DK Pictionary book, both holocrons are in there, but they cut it out of the movie. But those holocrons are in the comic. And yeah, they need to make these movies. If we're gonna do a show, do these shows. But this is good stuff, man.
Yeah. By the way, I just remember this. This sort of relates to Star Wars, but I mean, just a reminder that Wednesday we get the first issue of the Rebel Moon prequel comic on the Blood Axe twins. So I'm sure we'll definitely want to discuss that next Saturday. So
yeah,
everybody watch it.
That's already said. All right, they're talking about the Old Republic in a couple of hundred years from that or behind. I'm talking about Knights of the Old Republic, where it's thousands of years before, because the whole Republic, yeah, it's 200 years. I like the fact that they're doing that because they'll find some way to stick a great grandpa Skywalker in there, but it won't be as bad as using the same immediate characters over and over again. I don't think they've gone back far enough. But like I said, you do this. If for any of you who haven't read these series of books, once you read them, you're going to be like, where's the movie? You're going to ask the same question that Fourth did. Where's the movie? Larry, what's going on, homie?
And Spider-Man wants me to pull up this reply he did to Fourth. Let me see if I can find that one.
I'm excited for anything James Mangold does for your
Fourth. Disney wants to do High Republic, not the Old Republic. They want to go 400 years back. So it's 5,000 years back.
I say go 4,000. I mean, I'm glad you're doing 200 to 400 years because you're getting away from this storyline. But there's so much more to be told if you go back thousands of years. You're going back to some very important parts of Star Wars that just don't get unearthed. You're going back to the dawn of the Sith. You're going back into the why the Sith is being, why it's a bad. It's not just dark. It's not just the dark side of the Force. It was literally a race of people, and as they died off, they passed on their stuff. You're seeing how lightsabers are made. You're seeing a rudimentary light looking like. You're seeing their ships. You're seeing the dawn of hyperspace. I really would prefer the Knights of the Old Republic to 4,000 years back. That's just
Larry says I'm at the club and it's banging. I'm such a nerd. Need the Williamverse.
Wow, you're making time for me while you're in the club. I'm honored. Thank you, Larry.
Fort's sequel trilogy is amazing. Rey, Sky, Palpatine, Walker. Okay. Is that you're combining like all her surnames into one? But what were your thoughts, by the way, at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where she says, "My name is Rey Skywalker"? Was that because that's definitely was divisive.
You had lost me at she's the Emperor's granddaughter. That was anything after that. I was like, well, you fucking kidding me? The best part of that movie is when Lando comes in with all that shit. And Poe's like, oh my God, we're going to die. I'm sorry, guys. I led you into this. There's just too many of them. Then you hear Lando reprise word he said, but there's more of us. That movie was horrible, in my opinion. I hated those last two movies, but that scene gave me chills when he turned it. Lando's bought everybody.
Yeah,
Lando bought. I mean, as much as I can't stand that movie, but when I look back and I saw all the old school guys that the only time I ever wanted to see some of the old school guys in there, I didn't want to see them dominating the story like they did in this trilogy. They should have been done away with. But Lando coming in gave me like, okay,
I would have liked to have seen him and Han at least meet, because I'm surprised how long they held off on Lando in the sequel trilogy, but I would have liked to have seen him and Han Solo at least meet one more time.
Yeah, I just think that they ruined the opportunity to move past the Skywalker cul-de-sac, and they just didn't, because they were too afraid of old Star Wars fan, probably a cousin to old Trek fan. They were so afraid that those people wouldn't go see it. But I'm like, if you got that kind of fear, you need to be working down here with me. You need to be, and we need to get a job for this. You need to be working at Hot Dog on a Stick. You can't run multi-billion-dollar IPs and be a pussy. That is against the rules.
Or for that matter, be a dick with like what DC fans have had to deal with.
If you want to have fear, you want to be a pussy, then you go work down with the common man, working with common stakes, working with low leverage shit that if you're too scared to do, they can fire you and get somebody else. But when you're in the corner office and you have hundreds of billions of dollars and billions of dollars in potential and IP, you can't take a risk. Oh, I don't want to give up my Skywalker blankie. You need to be working in the guy who feeds the food to the exec, not the exec. I thought they made a horrible decision there, and they paid for it. So,
yeah. Well, and then you talk about taking Star Wars outside of just the purview of the Skywalker saga. I mean, they really were starting to venture in those waters with Rogue One, and maybe that's partially why Rogue One, I would say, is the best of the the modern Disney Star Wars era.
Yeah, not one. There's a Skywalker there, but she's Princess
She's
Leia
at the very end, and it's linking it up with the beginning of A New Hope.
Yeah, and there's your sequel for that. But yeah, just dude, please, people, read these books if you can get your hands on them, and you can. They're everywhere. Read these. Get the trade paperback. It's cheap. Like I said, once you're done reading them, you're gonna ask the same question I asked, and you're gonna ask the same question Forth asked. Where are the movies for these?
I'm wondering, I'm also now, because you're talking about Star Wars needs to move away from Skywalker. It's I'm wondering I'm just kind of envisioning 20 years from now with Rebel Moon, fans being at the point. It's okay, the Rebel Moon, get away from Korra and Jimmy and all those guys.
Well, in 20 years, it's only 20 years of them. At the point we're 40-something. Listen, this is my third birthday. We've been dealing with these same characters. I've had these characters. You've exhausted these characters. You've given me everything that you could give me with these characters. I don't need any more. You've told their story. There's nothing wrong with moving on with the story. All right, so guys, I am going to, and I know I'm going to fucking regret this. I am going to drop the link. All right, psychos, just let's not wander into the crazy shit.
Yeah, no good burger, guys.
Just try to stay on topic. Try not to talk over each other. Let's not make this a regrettable button push that I just did right now. So for all you guys that were wanting to get on the show, there you go.
Yeah, because I think it was the last of the topics tonight, and of course, I mean, it's the new year, so we wouldn't have a whole lot of big news yet. So we don't have as
well. I could have loaded it up, but I have neglected it.
Well, actually, here's a good one for you, and maybe this will feed into the link. Is what are your thoughts on? I think I might have brought this up a little bit during the Watchmen watch party. Zach. Let me look at this. I'm gonna go about discussing film because Zach, for those of you who may not have seen, he Netflix for Rebel Moon, they have added a bunch of profile icons you can add to your Netflix account. A lot of them are Rebel Moon characters, but there's also one with Zach himself. And I'm gonna bring this up because the response
okay, we're already fucking up because Spider-Man's the first one.
because the response this got is just absolutely beyond me. I mean, the fact that people could get detractors could get this bent out of shape about something. This
wait till we get to James Gunn's detractors eventually. He's gonna have them, and it's gonna suck because it's like you guys have made this part. You made hating these people part of your identity. It's comic books, man. This is coming from a guy who sells them. We don't have to get serious.
Okay, yeah. So here it is. He gets a profile icon on Netflix, and look at this. That's 2.3 million views. And if you read the comments and the quote tweets, I mean, there's a lot of positive response, from Zach's fans and kind of general audience members. But I mean, some of the backlash to this from the detractors is just. It's just beyond me. I mean, for Christ's sake,
they took time out of their day for a guy that they don't watch to do that. That's the thing. That's like they took time. It took time out of their day. Okay, listen, we're getting the same. That we had. All right.
You got it.
Hey, can I have some sane people click the link? No, I'm just kidding.
Then you're gonna have to get off the link, then, William, because all of us are sane.
Fourth and his cat knocking everything over.
My dog is running around out here.
Well, apparently your dog's on the mic because that's him breathing.
No. Well, he jumps up. He jumps up on me. Well, Aaron asks, "What's the bizarre version?" It's bad hot dog. It's a bizarre version of Good Burger.
Wow, I don't even have a drum beat.
That's a good one, Aaron.
So what's going on, Brad William? I guess that's fourth. Walrus is never compromised. So I got a. Fourth, you got to put an es at the end. It's not a possessive. It's not a possessive. You don't need the comma there. But anyway, I'm gonna actually have to agree with you on most of the Night Tonight, William. I gotta say, you got a good show. You got Knights of the Old Republic is good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I learned so much.
Daredevil is definitely needing to come back, and that part of the Marvel universe is good. So yeah, I'm gonna give you good marks on the show so far.
Oh, thank you.
The other day. Very egregious. Very egregious.
I enjoyed that show.
I know you did. I saw it.
I just sat back and just let them have at it. And by the way, fourth,
you had your Batman the animated series plushie in your hand.
Listen, dude. Listen, I'll have any, just like we did almost earlier. I'll have any Batman fight with you down the line, because like some of these points, you say I shake my fist at the cloud. Some of your takes are before clouds even existed, William.
I was actually gonna
made this new Batman thing. They understand now. They're righting wrongs.
I'm not mad. But when you brought that Flashpoint thing up, I'm not a huge Flashpoint fan. Other than it's a good transitional story in that regard. But the Thomas Wayne Batman is exactly what you always whine about, what you want to see. It's literally what you want. You want to see Batman with guns, who's not taking any breaks on criminals and doing things.
I want Bruce Wayne. I want to see Bruce Wayne did it.
Hey, man, like 2 out of 3 ain't so bad, ain't it?
Like I said, a lot of people listen. If you love Thomas Wayne, I don't know what the plan was for that one, but I was like, it just reminds me of that entire storyline and what a fucking mess that was.
That's a reference to the Earth 2 Batman story where Bruce Wayne died and Dick Grayson took over as Batman.
And then the part where the wife Martha becomes
she's the Joker. I mean, that's like I said. I'm more about the Thomas Wayne aspect of it. The Joker, she's cool. I mean, that's all right. I'm not married to it or whatever. But I really want to turn my ire just for a moment to Brad. Brad, you kind of been scot-free for a while, Mr. Miracle. And the thing I want to the thing I want to address is, I know you like Iron Fist a lot.
Yeah.
It is by far the worst show of those. It's mainly because of Finn. Like I said, Jessica Henwick carries the show. Misty Knight, her actress, I'm glad they're accurate with her, but her acting definitely needs work. But Jessica Henwick carried the show. The Hand was neutered in that show. They are way, way better on Daredevil, and they're on like the shipping dock for their base, like the back of a shipping dock at the studio for their base when you get to Iron Fist. They were even writing Finn out of the show if they would have continued the show. You know that, right?
Yeah,
They went to the old Iron. They went to the other Iron Fist of the. I forget his name, but they went to the old Iron
Orson
Fist.
Randall.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Orson Randall. Exactly.
Well, that's why I hated when the show ended, because it's like, again, my entry point was Immortal Iron Fist, and that's where they introduced Orson Randall as as the preceding Iron Fist and kind of a mentor to Danny. And yeah, I mean, everything you're saying about Colleen Wing, being the
Meacham's father was the best character in the show. The bad guy in the first season, Ward Meacham's father. I forget his first name.
By the way, that's not the first thing that.
You mean David Wenning's character?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
good shit,
great
Kroger.
as well.
Yeah, Jessica Tinworth. He carries the Matrix, that awful Matrix movie.
She carries that movie too. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel bad for her. She keeps getting
the first 10 minutes of that movie was very promising, and then it just all down the drain from there.
Yeah, I feel so bad for her. She keeps getting into these projects that's like where they get panned, but she gets praised, but they get panned. It's like, oh man,
she didn't want to be in Shang-Chi because she was holding out just
because she might get that now. Yeah. Yeah, I think we.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That is right, because she could. Yeah.
But Michelle Yeoh was in Shang-Chi and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh's in everything. Star Trek, everything.
All right, can I read my story?
Yes, Mr. Droga, he mentioned this to me. He has a kind of a story involved that basically is quick cliff notes is about basically the Joker getting Darkseid's powers. So, and he's really been eager to kind of share this with everybody. So go ahead, man.
Okay, so I didn't actually write this. I asked ChatGPT to write this. So the night in Gotham City was unusually quiet as Robin, also known as Tim Drake, swung from rooftop to rooftop. The city seemed to be catching a break from the usual chaos. However, peace was a luxury rarely afforded to Gotham's heroes. Tim's calms crackled to life, and Oracle's voice echoed in his ear. Robin, spoiler, we've got a disturbance near the old warehouse district. Check it out. Oh, sorry, this popcorn's really good. Tim didn't hesitate. He raced across the city, and soon he found Stephanie Brown, a.k.a. Spoiler, already on the scene. The warehouse was enveloped in an otherworldly energy, crackling with an ominous glow. Before they could react, a blinding light consumed them. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves on the desolate landscape, the air thick with a stench of sulfur, and they were on Apocalypse. Where are we? Tim asked, his eyes scanning the landscape. Stephanie said, "No idea, but it doesn't look like Gotham." Their surroundings weren't the only strange thing. A battalion of parademons, the foot soldiers of Darkseid emerged from the shadows. The heroes didn't have time to question their sudden arrival as the parademons attacked. Whoops. Tim and Stephanie fought side by side, and movements are well-coordinated dance. Robin's staff whirled through the air, knocking parademons off their feet, while Spoiler's acrobatic skills allowed her to evade their attacks with ease. Despite their efforts, the parademons kept coming. As the battle raged on, a massive figure stepped forward from the shadows. Darkseid, the tyrant of Apocalypse, observed the struggle with cold, calculating eyes. He spoke in a booming voice that sent the shivers down the heroes' spines. Pathetic mortals, you are far from home. Apocalypse welcomes you.
That's pretty good.
Robin exchanged a glance with Spoiler, determination in their eyes. They knew they had to find their way back to Gotham, but first they had to survive the onslaught. The battle intensified as more parademons swarmed in, and Darkseid joined the fray. They both fought valiantly, their skills pushed to the limit. However, it became evident that they were outnumbered and outmatched. Just when it seemed like that all hope was lost, a burst of energy enveloped them. They found themselves back in Gotham. The familiar skyline greeting them, Oracle's voice crackled with the comms. Robin, Spoiler, are you okay? And Tim says, "We're back," breathing heavily like Brad was a few minutes ago. But we've got to figure out what happened and how to stop it from reaching Gotham. As they caught their breath, the heroes knew that Apocalypse was a threat. they couldn't ignore. The battle on the alien world had only strengthened their resolve, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Yes. Okay, that's part one.
Okay, and you're gonna. This is you're kind of leading into this is eventually going to be a Joker like taking on the power of Darkseid.
Yes.
Wait.
Are you going to illustrate this or
Chat
what?
GPT?
Yeah, I might illustrate this.
You just went to Chat GPT?
Right.
Yeah, I used to write the story when Joker gets Darkseid's power, the mother boxes aren't gonna make pings; they're gonna make ha 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 ha's.
Oh.
Like Joker dropping the boxes or laughing.
Okay, do you guys want to hear the next part?
I can't view her, huh?
How long is it?
I don't know.
Be continued.
In the aftermath of their unexpected journey to Apocalypse, Robin, aka Tim Drake, and Spoiler knew they couldn't face the looming threat alone. They immediately rallied the Bat family, calling for an urgent assembly in Gotham City. Nightwing, Batgirl, Orphan, Batgirl as in Cassandra Cain, Red Hood, Azrael, Damian Wayne, and Batwoman responded swiftly. I don't know why my heart is racing. Swiftly to the distress signal.
Because it's thrilling.
Yes. Converging at the Batcave. Each of them arrived with their own questions about the apocalyptic incursion. This is big, even for Gotham, Nightwing remarked as he assessed the situation. Oh, fuck it. I'm just going to share my screen. Hold up one sec. Hold up.
Are you gonna make artwork for this story? Is that the
probably.
game plan? Okay.
Yes. Hold up. Let me just share my screen.
I asked for you to illustrate it. You said no.
No, I'm gonna illustrate it probably. William, you there? Oh, you're cool.
You stepped out for a minute. How long have you been working on this?
Oh, I haven't worked on it. ChatGPT did.
Oh, okay. Well, how long is ChatGPT?
You worked on it for a total of 15 seconds to write the description.
Right. Yeah, he had a.
Okay, so there's a big battle, and then Batman comes in, and then the battle against Darkseid has taken its toll. As Darkseid prepared to unleash his Omega Beams, a haunting laughter echoed through the destroyed halls of Wayne Manor. The Joker, ever the agent of chaos, emerged from the shadows, wielding the anti-life equation gun that Batman had used in Final Crisis. Well. So it's like Grace Randolph.
You got Brad tickled on that one, yo.
Well, I mean, it was fits.
Brad was gut busted.
Well, I mean, you watch your show. I'm with it. I get
it. Brad.
She's got a wig. The Joker cackled, his eyes gleaming with madness. Before anyone could react, the Joker fired the gun at Darkseid, and it killed him. His godlike presence momentarily weakened. The Joker grinned maniacally. Now, let's see what happens when you mix a little chaos with godhood. No. To everyone's astonishment, the anti-life equation, normally a tool of control, had an unexpected effect on Darkseid. The Joker, driven by his own unpredictable nature, absorbed the godly power instead of succumbing to it. Darkseid's essence merged with the Joker's chaotic spirit, creating a terrifying entity with godlike abilities. The newly empowered Joker, now clad in his otherworldly cloak that echoed Darkseid's regal attire, hovered above the ground. His eyes glowed. And I've always wanted to play God, but this is a whole... Oh, sorry, I'm burping for no reason. Of a whole new level of fun, the Joker declared. Okay, so and then I'll get to the part where okay, so pretty much Robin and Spoiler get get powers from the new gods, and that's how they beat the Joker. And
What does Batman do?
I don't know.
I don't
It's like a
know.
whole bat. Like that would be like
Okay, yeah, Batman,
That's
Joker,
Batman
Dark Side. We don't care.
alongside, but like, yeah.
Joker
This
got
is
rid of
dope.
Batman real quick, huh?
Yeah, Joker
So-
combining with Dark Side. Batman's like, I don't care.
Well, Batman, he's just being Batman. He's like,
Okay.
I'm-
So yeah, so you're gonna put out some illustration.
yeah. I gotta figure out what this Joker Dark Side amalgamation.
Yeah, that's interesting because
You could get-
like,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Spider-Man.
I was gonna say you could probably get inspiration from when Lex Luthor took over, or when Lex Luthor got
yeah, because there is
the
that concept
Dark
art
Side
of
War,
him.
and then they have
Yeah.
the combination of those two. I'm not that it would be the same. Also, Lex Luthor and the Joker emerged together in Dark Knights of Steel. Not the greatest story in the world, but you might be able to get a little bit.
Well,
of
and
that.
another.
Dark Knights of Steel, was that the one where Wonder Woman had a chainsaw?
Yeah,
What would you say that again?
Wonder Woman had a chainsaw.
Yeah.
No. Dark Knights of Steel is like it's inspired by Game of Thrones. It's like
Oh
Superman is a knight.
that one. So I was thinking of
Supergirl is like a princess. Their mother is still alive. Still, their father was alive till recently. Bruce
so
Wayne
I was
is
thinking
a
the
bastard
Batman
of
people.
Jor-El and Martha Kent. So
Yeah,
he's
no,
half Kryptonian.
There's another good one. They of Dark Side combining with somebody. If anybody's played Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, that that merges. Yeah, Dark Khan is merging Dark Side with Shao Kahn. Probably. That might actually.
They even referenced that in Mortal Kombat 11.
Also,
They should do
Boss
an
Dark
animated
Side
It
from
says,
Final
"I was
Crisis.
all the rage back then."
When Dark Side takes over Dan Turpin.
Oh yeah,
I love the ending too. The way it ends with him and MK versus DC, where they have
That's the series he's referring to, by the way, guys.
yeah,
Dark
Dark
Knights of Steel.
So
Or
those
the-
of you in the chat who haven't read it,
Oh, and you should. It's like it's awesome. I mean,
With a
it's heavy
chainsaw.
metal for DC, basically.
the coolest cover.
Have you got to read the end of it? I think it just ended 3 months ago, William? 2 or 3 months ago?
I did not
Did you get a chance to?
No, sold out of it before I had to.
Oh.
Yeah, number is 10. I sold out of 10, 11, and 12. These are the only three I have left, and these are scattered one. And I only got these in because I reordered the variant.
See that, chat? That's a rare book, chat. Somebody in the chat, go ahead. Let's make some bids on it. Let's get some numbers up on it.
But anyway, going back to MK versus DC, I always dug the way they wrap it up with him, where it's like the two universes are basically, for anybody who hasn't played the game, the two universes are basically merging, and so each side kind of perceive like the JL they consider like the Warriors of Earth realm to be the aggressor, and vice versa. Then they realize they're Superman and Raiden realize they're being kind of pit against each other by Dark Khan, and so they end up teaming up against him, and they split the two worlds apart. But then what happens is Darkseid ends up in the MK universe, and Shao Kahn is in DC. So the way they deal with them is Darkseid gets sent to the Netherrealm, and Shao Kahn gets sent to the Phantom Zone.
All right, well, listen, everybody. Everything can't come back to Mortal Kombat, damn it.
That's why I say, man, I'm a Street Fighter guy myself.
I hope that's not of the Batman. I hope that's not of the
Do you have
Batman.
any Mortal
Are you kidding me,
Kombat?
William? I hope they do an animated movie MK versus DC.
Here,
No, they
Droga.
were going to, but that canceled.
Who else wants
Droga,
to
do one where Ben Affleck's Batman switches universes with Adam West Batman.
No, yeah.
Oh,
Did you guys ever see that trailer? The trailer
That would actually be nuts, Fourth, because all those fucking '60s bad guys dancing around and acting.
oh,
like
those guys would
morons,
be like in
and Ben
therapy.
Affleck
right
is just
now.
fucking them up left and right. That
like,
would be
what if
hilarious.
the-
Even if they did the bang pow, you'd still see all the aftermath. Of them
That's
getting
what
fucked
the
up.
ninja, the ninja
That would be
turtles
hilarious.
are,
That's
Did
a
you
good
guys
idea
ever see
for
the
it.
Batman trailer?
There's your
with
next
Adam
movie,
West?
Fourth. You gotta put that in the bootleg universe right there.
Did we
That
love
is
William?
hilarious.
Did
we
you
love
guys
William
ever
It's a Burt
see
Ward.
Did you guys ever see the Batman trailer? But it's Adam West doing it. The trailer.
I don't think
Yeah.
I have no. I've seen a
I
lot of
saw
like fan
the-
trailers that took.
That's not copywritten. Can we pull that up or no?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's the corridor crew. that made
It's
that
got to
one.
be. It's
What
gotta-
what is fair use? We can
Well,
critique it.
fair use is something that they
Yeah, but we can analyze and critique it. We can use it as satire. We can that's fair. All that shit, right? We
By
got
the
Droga
way,
here.
Brad,
Hold
they
on.
were going to make a animated Mortal Kombat versus DC animated movie, but they canceled it.
Oh, was that part of like when they canceled like a lot of the other animated ones they had
Yeah,
coming
like
up because
the
of DC
Kingdom
Studios?
Come one as well.
Might
Uh,
have been able to get that instead of that ridiculous Injustice movie if they.
yeah, that wasn't the
money on
best. But yeah, like this right here, like Adam or Batfleck and the Adam West. No, I mean, just like from here, all he'd have to do is like hold them by like the collar, like the Joker or the Penguin. I mean, he'd have those guys in therapy just from them just seeing him, like him, how intimidating he'd be.
I think
how cathartic would it be that
I
Ben
think
Affleck
Cesar
gets a
Romero
Robin
Joker
back?
could hang.
How cathartic would it be if Batman
Aaron gets
the
it.
Robin back, but it's Burt Ward?
Okay.
Ben
Or you
Affleck
could
gets
just have the
Robin back.
flashback of how he died, but have it be Burt Ward.
Aaron gets it here.
Somebody
DC.
timestamp us in case we get kicked off, and I'm going to go ahead and.
Oh, you're gonna bring the Adam West Batman trailer?
Yeah.
The Batman Adam West trailer?
Yeah,
The
hold
people
on.
that made it is
What does
called
that mean?
Corridor Crew.
So when they take us,
Yeah, they'll just blame Brad, even though it wasn't even my idea.
Oh, he's right there, Brad, somehow, somewhere.
Yes,
I'll be
but
back.
Aaron gets it. Aaron gets it on NK versus DC.
See, and
Get
then,
it, Aaron.
And then Spider-Man, you
keep
can
the pod.
imagine the Adam West Batman going up against Affleck's villains.
Oh God, he would not.
Like
Wait,
he's
just
in the final
even
fight
KG
against-
Beats. Just even KG Beats, right?
He's in the final fight against Doomsday.
Yeah, that's not gonna go
Jared
well.
Leto Joker versus fucking Adam West in the red phone.
Oh, okay, already.
He gets the Deathstroke fight.
Kill you all.
Oh, look at that actually.
All adds up to a sinister riddle. Hello?
Riddler.
The Riddler would get his ass kicked by Ben Affleck. He would totally get his ass.
Oh hell yeah.
Gorshin's ass would be grass.
A bird in a tree. The penguin.
It's mixed.
You persons.
Prepare Batcopter for immediate takeoff.
They did the old bat helicopter instead of the.
Why do you jump like that? Hey, not gonna lie, the old Batmobile looks pretty hard in that scene.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Yeah.
Well, like that it's kind of, if there's anyone preceding it that's predicated on, actually probably
They try to make a serious version of the Batman theme song.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Take my money.
That was hilarious.
Take my money.
Yeah,
2 tickets.
that was bad. Yeah, that was a pretty good fan trailer. But yes, yeah, the idea of like switching Batfleck with or switching Pattinson for that matter. It's like his villain, the Adam West villain is like, yeah, there's like, and again, all they'd have to just step out of the shadows. Those guys are like, yeah, I'm out of here.
Say, what's his name? Adam West can get the Deathstroke fight that we never got with Affleck.
Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not going to go well for him. I'm sorry. With Deathstroke, I don't think he was even. He was created like 81 or something, right? But he wasn't even around during the Adam West era.
I know, but if Adam
But
West
we're talking
jumps into
about
our
a crossing of the
Multiverses, yeah.
Yeah. So Adam West would be in the DCEU or the Snyderverse.
Well, actually, we did see
and
Adam
Ben
West
Affleck
in,
would go back to
in the Flash, yeah.
66 and whip
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
ass. That shit
They
would be
didn't give him
hilarious.
ears.
I would rather see Batfleck in the past more than Adam West in the future.
Well, no, Droga,
he'll just go nuts.
I've seen people say that when you see him in the Corona Bowl, but
Even give him a costume like 66, like a style of that, but still like that would be great.
Droga, you said there about Adam West when he's in the Corona Bowl, because I've seen people say that he didn't have. The thing about it is his ears are like even shorter than Affleck, so it's like it's really easy for.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't
but
even
it just
matter.
looks like he didn't have ears.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's
Droga.
gonna drive the Arkham subreddit insane. So
Yeah.
Droga, make that idea happen.
At least draw it for us. At least draw it. Give us something. Give us something.
Draw like.
They
Affleck.
made a Batman
Like-
66. They made 2 animated movies. They introduced Two-Face in one of them, and they had the old villains in another
Yeah,
one.
so have like
So it
Bat,
has an
like,
art
like,
style you could draw
or
from
something.
to merge them. You know what I mean? You could do the J. Oliva stuff on the DCU side of the game, and then have the other art style kind of.
but who would actually win in a fight? Batum West or Pattinson?
Adam West or
Yeah,
I think Robert Pattinson's Batman armor would kick. Adam West is wearing pajamas, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, and
But
also,
Adam West has got a bomb.
well, okay.
But Adam West has rules that kind of go with his universe that may subvert even having to have a fight, though.
he does have shark
Yeah.
spray though. He does have
Jan
shark
said,
spray.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
he can do is let him
Here-
go
yeah,
around
but here-
him. That's all he can do.
Yeah, but here's the other thing that trumps all that. Okay, they had the crossover with the Green Hornet, and neither of them could beat Kato, because he's Bruce Lee. So there you go.
What?
No, the Adam West show had the crossover.
Yeah,
with
they had a
the Green
crossover
Hornet,
with.
and they so Kato has a fight scene with Robin on that, and I mean, yeah,
Which we got robbed because
Wait,
we
is
really
that-
should have got Bruce Lee whipping
I know
Batman's ass.
from
That
Mortal
would've been good.
Kombat. What?
I will say that Adam West would have solved any of the Pattinson Riddler riddles faster than anybody in that.
Oh yeah,
movie.
that was his jam.
yeah. well, no,
Looking around
no,
with Frank Gorshin's Riddler was like one of his favorite things to do was sit there and solve that bullshit. So he would
Well,
been there
no.
all day.
oh no,
Yeah,
I got
I
this,
was
Robin.
I was actually thinking about this today when in the 66 movie when they get to when they're trying to figure out like which of the villains is they've escaped and okay like which of them is like kind of the one who's doing the new plot and we did the whole thing with the hologram of the ship and the exploding shark and Batman goes, yeah, it's pretty fishy what happened. Oh, a fish, there might be a penguin, but wait, it happened at sea.
was
See,
like every
see for
episode.
Catwoman. But it exploded.
And the shark was literally pulling my leg.
The Joker.
The
It all
Joker.
adds up to a sinister riddle. Riddle.
Yeah, he would.
So, yeah, that was kind of the internal logic of the Adam West Batman universe.
So he
The
would
world's
solve any of
greatest
the
detective.
riddlers. Yeah. Yeah, make that one happen, Drogon.
Number says even Jim Carrey is better than Paul Dano. And Jim Carrey,
I disagree. Numbers. He was trying to play the Joker. Everybody in that movie was trying to be the Joker, man.
Oh come on! No. The Riddler.
What?
In
You want to
Batman
finish chewing so we can hear what you said?
the Riddler in the Batman just reminded me of Doomcock.
Oh, because of his pants.
Okay, see, I'll disagree with
mask.
you.
It's like he was saying, I have the resources that Kathleen Kennedy is at. That's what he was pretty much saying.
I'll disagree with you on that one, Spider-Man. They weren't all trying to be the Joker. I think they were all just thinking that all Batman's villains were mentally insane, and that's how.
Well, they are, but you can
Yeah, it's
portray insanity better than being the Joker from Jack Nicholson's Joker over again. I mean, they're all trying to do their take on what Jack Nicholson was trying to do.
Well, yeah.
Riddler is not the Joker, and he's not. Jim Carrey should have been the Joker if they wanted to bring the Joker back. You shouldn't have made him the Riddler if that's what you wanted to do with him.
Well,
He'd have been an excellent Joker.
Nicholson kind of set the tone of the villains and that because because he was also very ham. He's like hubba hubba hubba, money money money. Who do you trust? And he's at home washing his tights and so, yeah.
And I would say Two-Face. Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face is way off tone. All he's doing is cackling and laughing the whole movie.
Like first he was Billy D. Williams, and now he's
It's called recast T'Challa, man. It's the same thing.
Explain continuity wise.
See, back in those days they did a whole race swap and everything, and nobody's trying to see it.
It's true.
Now you got 40-year-old men who can't fucking sit in their own diapers if anything changes.
Oh yeah, that would make headlines, and not in a good way if they did that today. But I mean, now you kind of retroactively probably look at Batman Forever as as
Speaking
of
of Two-Face, what did you guys, including William, what did you guys all think of Aaron Eckhart's rendition of Two-Face?
I thought he was great. I loved it as Two-Face.
I thought the makeup was a little over the top, but he was good.
But that wasn't makeup. That was they put the dot
CGI over his face.
Yeah. Yeah, if that was
I
makeup,
thought
it's like because they burnt his. His face gets burned down with the skull, so they couldn't have done makeup for that.
That eyeball would have rotted and just fell out.
Yeah, he wasn't going to live much longer after that. With that again, when he's refusing, like I said, skin grafts and painkillers and any kind of a medical treatment. Yeah, he wasn't going to last.
It's not about medical treatment. It's about what's there.
Exactly. But what I was about to say something also about. You had me. Yeah, I lost my. Okay, yeah, it's about Tommy Lee Jones, Two-Face, and yeah, you're talking about like Spider-Man mentioning. Yeah, he's kind of he's off what you expect from Two-Face in terms of like he's really zany and of course you that always has in the back of my mind the story about him telling Jim Carrey, I can't sanction your buffoonery.
The end of the Batman where the Riddler and that Joker were just cackling on with each other felt really campy. Kind of felt like a Jeff Johns.
Are you talking about the end of the Batman when they're in the Arkham?
Yeah, it just feels like.
Yeah. I think they're trying to sell the madhouse aspect of it with only showing.
Yeah. I don't think John's had any involvement with the Batman, did he?
Well, how much influence did Jeff Johns have on Scott Snyder's direction for Zero Year? Because the whole flooding storyline is Zero.
Well, and if you want to get technical, I mean, John's made it so the Affleck wanted to jump ship and directly led Batman as it became. So
it gets you from both ends.
Yeah.
What we got from the comments.
Yeah,
they've been chatting with us in here. Like,
check out my profile picture.
Shrek, yeah. It's
Cap.
Yeah, Jeff Johns. I think you said something in the comments a while back, Drew. You said like John.
Oh yeah, he does.
Shrek.
He was all Shrek.
Try those detective skills, Pattinson. Yeah, again, you can't beat the detective skills of it happened at sea. C for Catwoman.
Justice League Origin isn't a bad story, and I think Green Lantern.
Yeah, I love
Green
that
Lantern
story.
story they did, or that he was doing that crossed from the old to the new, which is funny because everybody else had a reboot, but Batman and Green Lantern didn't have any. Green Lantern remained untouched.
Flashpoint is technically a ripoff of Shrek 4. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
All right.
I think Jeff Johns was inspired by that, and he was like, "Oh, he looks exactly like me. Oh, I got a
Well, yeah, the thing about it is, like, I remember when New 52 started, like the Justice League origin, that was actually, it got it off on a really good start. That was a really great origin for them and how they came together.
Was nice.
Yeah, well, and also like when he and Batman, when they have, because they don't, all the heroes, like they've never met, they don't trust each other at that point. And
well, I mean, Flash and Green Lantern knew each other. Like they mentioned, oh yeah, they fought with Gorilla Grodd, but like, yeah. Besides that, yeah.
Well, they have like Batman and Green Lantern taking on Superman at that one point, and
that banter in that
Superman's
movie is great.
Chains, you're funny.
James, you're funny. What is that? Wait, you're
in the Earth 2 version of New 52, in that very first fight, Steppenwolf killed Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. So
yeah, I know.
Had replacements.
Yeah, where
I'm sorry, Super Spider-Man. What's your beef with Flashpoint?
What's my beef with Flash? It's not less of the beef, and it's more of the forced reboot.
It's over.
It's Williams' point. They didn't need to redo the entire New 52 for Flash.
Well,
that was a reboot movie.
Well, it's not just a movie; it's a comic book.
The comic led
it came out like 2 years before the movie did. But,
well, it had an effect on the comic that's going on out.
It had a huge effect on everything because every time, just hear me out for a second. The comics, it has the New 52 effect, and the DC movies, it started the Decamu. When people were even when Zack Snyder was talking about in Justice League, or people were coming to the conclusions, how are you going to do it? What did they compare it to? Oh, let's just do a Flashpoint. Even when you get to the end of the Decamu, and Brad, this is where I feel like the Decamu movies get worse as they go on, and the worst of them all is the last one. I know you love.
Oh, I love Apocalypse War.
I love the violence in it, but the story is. First off, Damian Wayne tanking Omega beams. That's all I got to say. Anyways. When we get to the end of that story, it's all slaughtered and cut up anyway. So what do? They just do another Flashpoint, and so the Flashpoint becomes the excuse for when things don't work.
Yeah,
let's change everything up. So, and it's been synonymous with that more or less for the last 12 years. Like that's pretty much.
I mean,
and then look at how many reboots DC has pretty much done in the comics since. So you had Flashpoint, then you had Rebirth, then you had Infinite Frontier. And now you got Dawn of the
Well, that's kind of what William has said. It's like once you kind of like take that reboot, it's like crack. It's like once you take that drug, it's like you're trying to get that hit over and over.
Infinite Crisis, or excuse me, Crisis on Infinite Earth. Between that and Infinite Crisis was 20 years, and then they started.
With these new animated films, like in the Tomorrowverse, all they're using Flash for is just for time travel stuff, like in that shitty Justice Society movie.
Exactly what I was saying, Drogo.
Yeah, he was just there for
Also, don't forget 0 Hour. 0 Hour fucked up things too.
Oh yeah, Crisis in Time.
I haven't read 0 Hour. I have Zero.
You don't need to.
Okay.
You skipped it.
I read Zero. Yeah, that's good. But
I think the Flashpoint movie or the storyline is good just by itself, but I didn't know that had a greater effect. On
well, and also like one thing, Scott McClellan from DC Squad, one thing he's pointed out like on multiple streams is that Flashpoint was not initially intended to be a continuity reboot.
It wasn't
it was gonna be like a Back to the Future kind of thing, and then Barry like fixes things and goes back to his original timeline. Then the 11th hour, they said, yeah, let's just go ahead and just hit the reset button on the whole continuity and start new.
That's a little bit more. There's a little bit more than an 11th hour. That was a conversation with somebody with a sales pitch, and somebody even dumber listening.
Jeff Johns went in there and said, Jeff Johns went in there and said, hey, I can undo Superboy Prime's punch, and I can undo Batman's death. If you just give me the reins, I'll take you to the next level. That's what he told him. That was the sales pitch right there. He told him he'll fix Batman. And
oh yeah, Vince has one here. I need to go ahead and read this off. Dono's Joker was just internet YouTube terrorist more than he was the joke.
Droga, is that your Netflix, Droga?
How many of those do you got on there, Droga?
I got a lot. I got a bold Lex Luthor. No, not bold Lex Luthor. I got a bold James Gunn for some reason. I got James Gunn as Superman for some reason. Like,
I think I've seen that floating around. Yeah, well, not that one.
Can you get a bald James Gunn as Superman? How about
that? Oh, someone's dog is barking.
Oh yeah, it's like he's
numbers. I don't dislike the story as much as it's just a it didn't need to reset the whole universe and do it. It had more weight on the shoulders than it need to, and it's just it's an alright story. It's not like like any of the Crisis stories. I mean, First Crisis sucks, but it's not like Crisis or anything.
Numbers says here, Jim to Spider-Man, Jim Carrey modeled his Riddler on Frank Gorshin's Riddler. Well, I think that's pretty evident from the performance. Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I can see that, Numbers. I can see that.
You do that in Midjourney or what's that?
No, he's James Gunn's
barber.
I
just used FaceApp. I just used FaceApp.
This is Batman Forever is pretty campy overall. Well, again, like one of the things I point out, I think William has too, is that it is of the original four. And like I said, it's like
on 66 Batman.
Well, also it's like retroactively, it's probably.
It's better than the Batman.
Well, forever it's like it's you kind of retroactively again. View it more as a reboot before they were happening because that's what it is. I mean, especially now after the Flash, they position Keaton and Kilmer / Clooney as different Batmen, but the other thing about it, it's the first of the original four to like really dive into, it's really get into like Bruce Wayne's psychology and the why he became Batman, and so that was really that's a good counterbalance it has with again the villains being having the fireworks. In fact, William, that's something I've always wanted to ask you about because you've always spoken very highly of Batman Forever, but like one of the things that God, Walter, I'm out of there joking. One of the things that Forever has gotten some flack for over the years is kind of what Spider-Man is saying is that Riddler and Two-Face they're kind of like Joker with a new coat of paint, but I'm just kind of wondering your thoughts on like kind of the wackiness of the villains in Batman Forever, like what the reputation it has in that aspect with the villains.
First, you have to have a baseline to what Joker you're comparing him to, and there's no Joker that ever performed like those two characters did in that movie. Two, the worst thing about that movie was the inclusion of Robin. That was what the only.
Yeah, you hate Robin.
27-year-old Robin.
Your 33-year-old boy wonder.
He called himself when he was trying to come up with his Nightwings. When he was trying to come up with his costumes or his names, he said Nightwing.
He says Nightwing, yeah.
But anyway,
William, you have a bigger problem with a young Robin, though, right? So why not?
I have a problem with the concept of Robin.
Oh, come on, what? Like endangering?
But Robin at 33 would work, right?
No, it's kind of stupid.
Well, at that point, he's Nightwing.
Batman is kind of stupid. Then. Like
Bradley, I tend to agree with you. Bradley in the chat, I tend to agree with you. I think with the Batman.
What's with all this the Batman slandering? Yeah, like
the Batman. No, I'll slander the Batman until the cows come home.
Yeah, I'm a 33-year-old orphan.
Batman movies are better when they're less crowded. When they're about Batman.
Pizza.
What's that?
In a cinematic movie, you have 2 hours, 2.5 hours at the most. And if it's about Batman, it needs to be about Batman. And comics is different. Pace and flowing is different. You can have all these derivative characters, and you can give them their own book to tell their own story. But when you have a limited amount of time, the sidekick thing is just not,
I would say that Robin movies or Robin characters and Batgirl characters are still all about Batman. They still kind of serve as his story.
Well, they're derivative characters, but they're better when they're on their own. They're not, there's very few storylines where when you have the book crowded with these the derivative characters and it takes away from Batman. The focus. That's why it's easier to have these characters in comics because, like I said, you can have a Robin comic and it's dedicated to him. Batman is in the periphery and you can focus on Robin. But if Batman is in the title, Batman needs to be the main focus of the story.
I feel what you're saying, William, because like sometimes when you're in a Bat book, it's everybody else but Batman. But on the flip side of the game, you said they work well on their own. They don't work at all unless Batman's involved.
Not necessarily. You don't have
Nightwing doesn't work unless he's been Robin and somebody understands he's.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be in the book. Now that he's Robin, I don't need to see him, alongside Batman all the time. Robin, I mean, Tim Drake's Robin would go literally years without having Batman in the story.
Yeah,
right.
In the
so
Jack Dixon run, like Batman,
Nightwing's a grown ass man.
So in it, like
I'm guessing, William, you probably really, really loved in the Burton movies what almost happened with Marlon Wayans almost being the Robin of that, and like specifically in Returns, there was I think what it was going to be, and Marlon Wayans even got paid, and he still gets residuals for both of them, but he did like a costume fitting, and it was going to be Dick Grayson was going to be like this young, he was like early 20s, and he was going to be working as an auto mechanic, and his Robin suit was going to be like this redesigned auto mechanic suit.
Yeah,
so
they even made that cut.
That sounds as stupid as it just did.
See, I heard the same story, but
Talk about
I heard the same story, but I heard that it was Marlon Wayans got hired to be Green Lantern for the what's the Mad Max director, the Justice League Immortal.
No, that was Common. That was Common. It was going to be his Miller's Green Lantern.
I heard it was Marlon Wayans got hired for that, and since he signed a contract, he got paid for it.
No, that was for Batman. It was Common. It was going to be his John Stewart.
James Gunn, because that's a lie.
And Droga, having that gun one-liner.
Common might have been pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's great in John Wick. Let's see, Hunter. He says, Brad. Question: William Powell and Brad Kern. Robbie Mullins 35. Okay, I don't know what the question is there, dude. That's more of a declarative statement. So I'm not quite sure you're getting it.
He's overage. Okay, that's legal.
Are you saying that he's out of the running for Robin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was
from 89 Batman to the last Joel Schumacher. I've only seen those movies in theaters once. I never liked any of those movies.
Yeah, this is what. Yeah, it takes away from the focus of Batman, and really, it's just not.
I still kind of disagree, though. I think like Robin still tells Batman's story because Batman is kind of like the self-sufficient loner, and giving him family is kind of an arc to his story.
Not in a movie, in a comic book or a series, maybe, but not when you only have limited time to focus on the main character. I paid to see the title character.
By the way,
I disagree. I think it works in the movie.
I think I can. It hasn't yet. I can do away with the sidekick characters by not buying their books if I don't want to, if I'm a collector or if I'm in a series like that. But you got 2 hours. If it's the Batman, that's who I want to see. Now, if you want to tell a long-form series, like mini-series story, 9-10 episodes, something like that, when you have a chance to develop these characters, give them their own episode to the point where it's not taking away from then that's fine. But I don't need a cluttered any of these derivatives.
You've never seen a story about where there's a person who's solo and by themselves, and then gets a kind of surrogate family and learns to kind of open up their lives to other people.
Not with the issues that Batman has, and with the intensity that Batman does. And his solitude is his strength of his story.
Robin came out a year after Batman came out, William. Like, you're making it seem like Robin just doesn't belong in the story. Robin is as much as Batman's story as Batman.
Hold on. If you look at the evolution of Batman, you've always had since the birth of Robin, you've always had 2 different Batman comics, and you could always storytell with one or the other. People who don't want Robin can always buy Detective Comics, because for the most part, Robin is not in Detective Comics. But if you wanted to read Batman, which was where he first appeared, for the most part, he was there most of the time, if not about 60% of that. But Detective Comics, you had that. When you have space to tell that kind of story and different types of stories, it's okay. When you got 2 hours, no.
Well, lucky for us, we're about to be in a universe that has multiple Batman story going on at the same time.
Well, that's why I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to
you got a Pattinson Batman right now that may stay solo the whole time, and if James Gunn does whatever they want to do with Brave and the Bold, they can do the Batflamp family. Everybody can get a taste of everything and see what they like, because we really only have had in the modern time, and I'm counting, I guess, 35 years ago as modern time. We've only had Chris O'Donnell as Robin in a movie,
and that's by design.
And the
It's
Titans.
a bad
wasn't it?
idea. If it were a good idea, you might have seen it more. But it's a bad idea. That's
By
why
the way,
Well, we had Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Fourth. You're right.
no.
I like
say
that
nothing
name,
to
Robin.
that.
Yeah,
I can't even say nothing
I
to
like that moment. I'm not going to apologize.
Yeah, I
for it.
like it.
That is by far the worst.
Wait,
Speaking of
Joseph
all those
Gordon-Levitt was pretty good.
No, he's
Speaking
not
of
a bad actor, but that
Was
was a
it-
stupid way. John Robin Clark, was that his name?
Blake.
Yeah.
Oh, that was. I mean, the name was dumb at the end, but if they would have turned that guy into a Robin, I would have bought it.
Well, speaking of
I would-
all,
I
the,
would-
Probably like
way.
Robin's best.
all this Batman talk, I'm going to bring this up real quick because this is I'm sure you guys have seen some of this AI kind of fan art floating
I'm
around.
sharing my drawing I did today.
Well, go ahead then. Oh, you share yours first. I'll pull
Hey,
mine.
Drogo, what do you do? You work with art, like full time?
Yeah, I'm something of a
Yeah. Oh, you're Robin. It turns out.
Himself, Robin.
Yes, it's me as Robin, and I got the Batman from the '90s era, and as you can see in the background, there's an anarchy symbol.
Okay.
But yeah, let me go ahead. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to pull this up too because I'm sure you guys have seen
what
a lot
are
of
you,
this
you
fan art.
drawing like obviously you're a digital artist, so would
Yeah, I draw on my iPad, like Procreate and stuff.
Okay, cool.
So I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of this fan art.
Do it for work.
That's
cool.
Oh yeah, I think I saw
Midjourney
that.
thing.
Yeah, if you told me this was a set photo with Ben Affleck, I'd believe you 100%.
You guys see
I
how many
don't
fingers
know.
he has? If he has like 9 fingers,
It's
on
too
his hand.
smooth. That's the
No,
It's-
you can tell that it's Midjourney because it's very, like how Joker said, it's smooth and it's like very polished, especially in the mouth. It's almost like they turned a toy towards the screen and gave it a cool.
Yeah.
Well, I told you there's that one scene in ZSGL when they're in the Batcave, and I said in the watch party they all look like action figures with the lighting in that, which I didn't mind, but it just kind of jumped out.
Talking
At
about
me.
when he goes down the elevator, or are you talking about in ZSJL when they're all
When they're all in the
Yeah,
Batcave and
yeah,
then
yeah.
saying
From the computer.
we're locating Steppenwolf.
It's like
Yeah,
a cave.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Oh, Ruth, how
don't
you
even get me
doing?
started on that. Okay, here's another one I'm going to pull up. It kind of
Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us earlier, Ruth. That was
No,
cool.
we only got
Ruth,
about 5
I'm
more
on
minutes
the
left on the
screen.
show.
Yeah, here's another one I'm going to pull up real quick. It has Batman and Superman in it.
Well, I believe in truth. Most of it.
Yeah.
I also believe in justice.
That's another good one too. So I think
Wait. What's going on with that Superman in the background? He looks kind of like
He looks kind of.
he looks like 17.
What?
He looks like a
Yeah.
kid.
Justice League. Is that what you're saying?
No, he
17.
just looks like a kid Superman. All right, block out Superman from that shot. Batman works.
Except
but-
Batman doesn't work at daytime.
We were
Yeah,
talking about last week, Fourth, that he always looks like he's perched. He's always perched standing up. That's him actually perched like in a real
I
perch
know.
Yeah.
on a
But
guard.
yeah,
I'm not,
all,
I'm not a fan
that
of
fan
Perky.
art. I think there was this one guy who commented in Film Junkie kind of reported on this that said that there might be like some kind of movement or some kind of indication that the Batfleck movie might actually be realized in AI within the next few years, which is like when you're getting art like that's that convincing, it's like I could almost see that happening.
But it's not going to have any kind of soul
I
at
don't
all.
want it made. With
I get you. It's like
I mean,
I would rather like
I literally generated a script with AI, but I don't want it made with AI. Like, I don't want it animated with AI. Like
I'll
the
give you about
fingers,
10 years.
It looks so
10 years,
inconsistent and shit.
because AI is barely doing motion right
Yeah.
now. 10 years, you'll probably get flawless motion.
you also
with
do
AI.
it like Alita. So
Oh my god, that movie's terrible.
So is that a
Oh,
does
oh,
that
no,
future
that's
scare
fine.
you,
Okay.
William?
Yeah.
That everybody's
up?
discussing.
What's up? Say that again.
What?
I'm not taking any
future
Alita
scare.
slander on here, Fourth. As a
Oh,
your
yeah.
warning.
Robert Rodriguez sucks.
Wow.
And neither any Rodriguez slander. You are going to
All
go
right,
in
guys, we're
permanent
about to
timeout
wrap
if you
this
keep it
up,
up, sir.
so-
Oh, bring it back. Hashtag bring.
He missed the point. He made that whole world look so beautiful and like friendly to be in. The Alita world was supposed to be like dreadful and
You have got
depressing.
2 strikes already, sir.
Why? For
But-
Hey,
being right?
get on the raid. Get on the raid.
just
See
take
what
Elysium
that's a
and put
permanent
woman
ban.
in it, a little cyborg woman in Elysium, and it would have probably been 99% better than that movie.
I'm just going to
I
go ahead and
mean-
highlight
I mean,
Ruth's
we
comment
need
here
more
because she's
than-
nice. No, thank you guys. Yes. And I bet Ruth, gets Alita much better than other people on here do tonight.
Watch her destroy it.
Ruth said she rewatched Watchmen because too many people were talking to the damn movie.
Well, we were. It was a watch party. We're doing a
I
kind of a
know.
fan commentary over it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Brad
yeah.
was
Hey,
like,
William.
"Oh, bro, look at that. That looks exactly like that
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League."
Well,
Batman
yeah, well, there was a lot
Beyond
of chemistry there.
Go ahead, Spidey. You were about to ask me something.
Batman Beyond is goated. I just wanted to tag you right before I got off. You know,
Sure.
we're about to get off, so
Oh, we are.
Hey, tell you what. I want you to go ahead and hold your breath until the actual release of the movie.
I don't need. They've already made Batman Beyond. I don't need them to continue making live action cartoon movies. I'm not
Yeah,
the rest of
well,
the people that you make me into a straw man.
The Flash.
I'm saying that the show that we got is fine.
Sure.
I mean, the
I don't
Flash
need another
murdered,
cartoon.
like,
Return of the Joker watch party. Return of the Joker watch party. It's only an hour. We could do that on a Wednesday night. We could do that on a Wednesday night, dude.
My
They
time
do
is a
my
little
boy
bit more
Tim
valuable
Drake
than
dirty.
that.
in that
Why?
movie.
You just watch wrestling anyways. It's like at least
I would rather watch
you-
wrestling's more exciting than Batman Beyond. I mean, what the hell?
but that's what different strokes for different folks, William. I'm not gonna shit on what you like, man. I'm just fucking with you.
Substitute Batman.
Substitute Batman now you've been crossing the lines, man. Terry
Yeah.
McGinnis is Bruce Wayne's
Well, I'm
clone.
sorry that Batman's too old. Like, what do you want?
Come on, Drogo. Don't hit him with logic or anything like that. It might actually hurt him.
Hey, as long as when they make the movie, they don't put Michael Keaton in it.
Oh, no.
That was what they were going to try to do. They were on the road to doing that.
Yeah. That
Well, they were
Yeah.
also on the road to doing a whole bunch of. They were on the road to doing like we're gonna
I mean,
totally bench
remember
Cavill and
that
Affleck and like do
movie?
Crisis and bring him back for 5 minutes at the end. It's like
Or
My casting would have been Ed
Wonder Twin?
Harris.
Wonder Twins powers activate that bullshit. Somebody
Oh,
had to shut that
fuck.
down.
Yeah,
Huh?
fuck. They even casted actors.
So is
Yeah,
Zaslav
they
the
had- yeah.
necessary evil then, William? Is that what
Is
you
what?
say? Is Zaslav the necessary evil?
Anybody could have been the necessary for that. You didn't
There's
have to be an
Zaslav.
executive to know that was a bad idea.
You made your
The
your,
mail-
de-
the
your
mail
deal you
room
made
guy
the
could've
devil
looked
with
at
was a
that.
reality show TV guy. So look at HBO Max now.
The mailroom guy should have been able to look at some of their concept and be like, you know what, I think this is going to go in the trash.
Rex,
If
because
that-
he's awesome. That's why. Duh.
if Batman Beyond has a mask, why is his mouth open? Yeah, his own mask setup is different. Yeah.
It's 2039 in that.
It's future tech.
All right, guys, I think that's going to be a good note for us to wrap it up. We're at 3 hours now. I'm exhausted. I've been on the air.
No, we're
for-
at 2 hours and 58 minutes. You lie.
by the time I actually get through here, it'll be 3 hours.
Yeah,
Raised a few bucks today. Decent show. Brad, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero. You can find me somewhat on Facebook. You can check out my writing on Kung Fu Kingdom and on Screen Rant, and you can see me here getting blamed for things that most likely aren't my fault, but I'm going to take the blame anyway.
Hashtag
See
Not
Brittany
that
over
one,
there,
actually.
Drogo?
There was some shit that was your fault tonight, but that's okay. Spidey,
in your chat harassing you about Batman.
being wrong about everything. I really
Come
don't
on.
care where they can find forth.
I think
Drogo-
people are agreeing. I have multiple people agreeing with me in the chat, dude.
I don't
as
care.
speak.
That's
You
not
can
gonna
find
like
it's
Ford,
not
the
wrong. That's
president of the
called
Elite
rights.
Haters fan club.
I am your ghost, William, so I'll always be there.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Missy skipped me.
I
What,
do not-
is
listen,
this
watch this,
Australian
watch
prejudice?
Watch this. Hey, that just made that easy, didn't it?
You can find me
Or-
at Droga52 on YouTube and on Twitter, or X, as Nicotina calls it. You can find me at Axel R. Droga.
Be careful with that knife, Droga. Like you're
I
scared
know, I'm
of
gonna
us.
watch him bleed out right on that damn
He's
TV.
over
by
there
the way,
doing
we're-
Britney Spear dances.
And by the way, wherever you can find me, you'll most likely find me breathing.
That's gonna be the new one.
Yeah,
now.
that was Brad Vader over here.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for dropping in tonight. It's time to sign off, and we'll see you.
I can't.
You know,
take
next
it.
Is
same
that
bad
Bane?
time, same
Won't
bad
sign
channel.
off, more like and
What the hell
sign
was
off.
that? Was that Bane?
Yeah,
D.
that's right.
Reynolds versus Brad Curran in the fucking impersonation off.
I was born in the dark, molded by it.
Okay.
I
Hey,
didn't see the lightness
thank
of
you guys
days. I was
for
a
joining.
man.
Luke, no, I am your
Hope
father.
everybody had a good time.
William's getting going nuts right now. I know it.
And also
William's
remember,
lost control.
988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. I know that everybody's making a fool out of themselves on the screen tonight, but after you're done laughing at these guys and having a good time, don't drift back into the bullshit. Don't drift back
He's
into
blocking my
the
face.
valley. Just
You're blocking my face too.
I'm trying to give people hope. That's why I'm blocking your guys' face. 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline, 24/7 call, text, chat. Thanks to everybody who's able to chime in and watch our one of our phases of our fundraiser today. We'll have more coming up, but like I said, I think we can. I think there's a realistic possibility that we could reach 10,000 by the time part 2 comes out. So
Let's shoot for the stars.
all right, guys. Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for watching. I am going to go home and eat and be back at it tomorrow night, 10:30.
You're not home
Sure,
right
next
now.
Later,
week,
one,
guys.
later chat. Later,
How about
everybody.
you go home and
What's
then
up?
shut the stream off?
Said
when you
later,
get home?
everyone.
No, because I just want to just leave the cage open and let the lions and the tigers out.
Wait, I thought you were home right now. Do you not live there?
Because the place I sleep in. How about that?
Oh, so
Put yourself on a cot.
Sometimes
when
that's here.
ending the stream early.
It's 3 hours, dude. The stream averages
1
3
minute
hours.
early.
What do you want from me? You want me to be one of those streams where it's just awkward
can't win for
silence
losing,
because everybody
William.
ran out of shit?
here's the link to the stream. No, I'm kidding.
He does.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
Later, guys.
All right,